This is He Knows the Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. We keeping the foot on the whoop on the next. We keeping the foot on the whoop on the next. Monnie Brown, what's up, man? Talk to these folks, bro.
Man, chilling. You know, another episode with my brother ready to cook. Give these people what they want, man. Like you say, you know, when we come together, man, it's magic. You feel me? It's magic.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, though. Hey, man, I got a lot of hot topics to talk about. You've been covering a lot of hot topics. I see that, you was getting on Reject Robin the other day, so that's what's up, man. We got to do what we got to do. We got to tear this thing out the frame. But let's jump right into it, man, because we're going to segue into a lot of stuff. First topic at hand, because I feel that we have to talk about it, is Ryan Garcia and him clout chasing, man. I feel like Ryan Garcia, like he's been doing all along, was just basically using Gervonta Tank Davis as a prop so that he could build his name up. And not only that, now he's talking about Manny Pacquiao. And I like the fact that you covered it, because the bottom line is, when we sit here and we look at Ryan Garcia and we look at his energy represents fake bravado. See, a lot of people don't understand that. There's a lot of fighters out there that actually make fights happen, and there's fighters out there that just cap. The reason why boxing is in a decline, and the reason why boxing is in the gutter, and the reason why boxing is in shit right now, is because you have a lot of fighters, i.e. the Ryan Garcias of the world, i.e. the Teofimo Lopez of the world, a super duper hype job variation, i.e. capping ass or little capping ass Devin Haney. These guys cap. They don't do anything that show that they got heavyweight lifting behind them. That's all they do, run their mouth. This whole Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney fight, this thing was already supposed to be signed, sealed, and delivered like UPS, because Teofimo Lopez is not undisputed. Devin Haney doesn't have a real body count on his resume. Ryan Garcia got dropped by Luke Campbell. And you remember when Mike Tyson was right there basically being the coon buffoon that he is, because that's what he is, him, Roy Jones Jr., and all of these damn coon buffoons, instigating and creating something that really was just popping smoke like the rapper's name. And we saw Ryan Garcia doing all that hoopla, standing up there, clamoring, saying, oh, I want this fight. But you saw Gervonta Tank Davis was quiet. And everyone knows there's always a quiet before a storm. Let me say it again. There's always a quiet before a storm. And what did Gervonta Tank Davis say after Ryan Garcia did all that capping? At the end of it, he just said, look, Mike Tyson, I'm going to tell you right now, you see that shot that Luke Campbell landed on him? If it was me that hit him with that same shot, you think this motherfucker's going to get up? Ryan Garcia is the only thing that Golden Boy Promotions have at this point. They lost Canelo or Cinnamon Dust, Saul, Horchata, Alvarez. They lost this motherfucker. They just got Ryan Garcia. You think that they're going to feed their new cash cow to the wolves? That's not going to happen. And see, when I dropped that video the other day, when I said, Gervonta Tank Davis, take the wolves off your eyes, and I see you dropped a video that was similar to that in your own way, it was to open up Gervonta Tank Davis' eyes to show what was happening. And what it was to show that Ryan Garcia was clout chasing, because Ryan Garcia didn't want this free smoke. His energy was one of fake bravado. Ryan Garcia knows if he steps into the ring with Gervonta Tank Davis, that's like him basically filling out a bucket list. That's like him basically saying that he can't box no more. It's the same as if he's fighting the likes of a Manny Pacquiao. All Manny Pacquiao got to do is connect. Ryan Garcia is too slow for Manny Pacquiao. And Manny Pacquiao still got power at this stage of his career. So when you hear him mention those names, that's clearly what we call classic clout chasing. And this is why I told everyone, when you look at 135 and you look at the body language of the Ryan Garcias of the world, you look at the body language of the Teofimo Lopez of the world, you look at the body language of the Devin Haneys of the world, they don't compare with the likes of Gervonta Tank Davis, because Gervonta Tank Davis stands above the fray. Everybody else is talking while Gervonta Tank Davis is making things happen. People said that Gervonta Tank Davis, when he come to 135, he ain't gonna do nothing at 135. But didn't Gervonta Tank Davis fought Curious Gamboa? I thought boxing triangle theories don't work. Curious Gamboa fought 3 opponents that we know that have names. Terrence Bud Crawford, Gervonta Tank Davis, Devin Haney. And what happened in those 3 fights? The fight against Terrence Buck Crawford was a bow-legged individual. After he fought Hkhs Gamboa, he became a straight-legged individual. Let's look at the Gervonta Tank Davis fight. Gervonta Tank Davis beat up Hkhs Gamboa so bad that at the end of the fight, he did what Ruben Patterson did to Kobe Bryant. When Kobe Bryant laced him up from half court with 2 lethal 3-pointers, Ruben Patterson came at the end of the game, signed Kobe Bryant's shoes and said, man, you right there, dog, is that dude. I can't front. You that cat. So I had to sign your shoes because they said I was supposedly the Kobe stopper. Well, Hkhs Gamboa said, you did way, way, way better than what Terrence Buck Crawford did. Salute to you. Knockout Boxing 86 TV. You did way, 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 way better. Way better. And when I say way better, I mean way fucking better than Terrence Buck Crawford. So I had to come back and shake your hands. Devin Haney said that I'm going to knock out this cat, Hkhs Gamboa, before anybody else. That's what Devin Haney said with his own mouth. Now, we understand just because a fighter says something, that don't mean it's going to happen. But at least when you say something as big as you're going to knock somebody out, then at least do the demolishing. Because when Errol the True Spence fought Mikey Garcia, he demolished him. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Mikey Garcia is still trying to figure out what his boxing life is like after the fact. He regressed him into an Uber, a Lyft, and a hold up. Hey, taxi, Tijuana cab driver fighter. That's what he regressed him to. But when we sit here and look at Devin Haney, you're supposed to give us something that's going to show us that when you get these type of fights, your WBC championship belt is not email champion status. It's for real. It's legitimate. And can nobody say that I'm not a supporter of Devin Haney? Because I've dropped enough videos in my catalog to where I've shown my support. But what I see with Devin Haney, just like I see with Ryan Garcia, because I'm bringing it right back to Ryan Garcia, and I see with Teofimo Lopez, is these guys are screwing up 135. 135 could easily be one of the hottest divisions in boxing. But it's not. It's a capping division. Because outside of Gervonta Tank Davis, nobody's doing no heavyweight lifting. And then after the Hkhs Gamboa fight, who gives these guys at this weight class, even though it was 130, something of excitement at 130 and 135? Because technically you could say 130 and 135 is the same because you got lightweight and junior lightweight, right? They call it that, so you can mesh it together. He fights Leo Santa Cruz, and what happens? He gives us a fight of the year candidate. See, while these guys are popping smoke, Gervonta Tank Davis is out here doing heavyweight lifting. So it goes back to that fundamental point that me and you made many months ago when we said that it was Gervonta Tank Davis, and then there was the rest. This is what people got to understand. And I get it. People want to hate on Gervonta Tank Davis because of the banner that he's behind. Because really, it's not about Gervonta Tank Davis. If Gervonta Tank Davis was somewhere else, they wouldn't be hating on Tank. It's because he's with Floyd, man. And I done told you this, Monty Brown, a long time ago. And I done told a lot of cats a long time ago. These beta males in this day and age, in this genre, it's bad. We got 97% of them out here on this planet. And there's only 3% of them that's showcasing true alpha male-like tendencies. Because all of them, all they want to do is hate on greatness personification. When we look at Devin Haney, we see greatness mimication. When we look at Ryan Garcia, we see greatness mimication. When we look at Teofimo Lopez, we see greatness mimication. But when we look at Gervonta Tank Davis, we see greatness personification. And what did Hkhs Sport tell you in the Hkhs Sport original? Greatness personification can only be hindered. It can't be stopped. So y'all could keep hating on Gervonta Tank Davis all y'all want. But the bottom line is this. Outside of Gervonta Tank Davis, 135 is a bunch of capping, popping smoke. What you got to say, Money, bro?
My buddy, man. Listen, man. Teofimo capping. Ryan Garcia capping. I know what you said about Devin. I got to give Devin some credit. I got to give him some credit. I feel like I said, I got my thing with him about that Gary Russell shit. I feel like that was cap. You know what I mean? But I do feel like he wanted the Teofimo smoke, just like I feel like you're saying with Tank wanted that goddamn Ryan smoke. You feel me? But with Ryan Garcia, man, I mean, you hit it on the head. He's the like, even me, I'm like, man, De La Hoya ain't gonna feed him out there, right? But I was still trying to be optimistic, like just in case the shit happen, because he talking so much shit. He knows, right? He talking so much shit. I'm like, damn, is this motherfucker telling the truth right now? But it was just the energy coming off. He was just too confident and 2 rounds, and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And boy, you can't do this. You can't, like, he just talking so much shit because you beat motherfucking damn, what's the man name? Who he just knocked out, bro?
Luke Campbell.
Luke Campbell. You just beat Luke Campbell, and you talking like you beat one of these motherfuckers or something. Which I do give credit for Luke Campbell, but it was all fucking just bullshit cap talk. But you sitting up there, you trying to get notoriety off the shit, man. And you do that shit to try to build up your next fight, to keep everybody in tune, keep everybody close. To now, now you know I'm not going to fight him because I got something bigger. Just stick around, just wait. You're going to see. I would not fight him if it was not bigger. Who the fuck you fit a fight that's bigger than Gervonta Davis, bro? Because Teofimo name ain't bigger than him. Devin Haney name ain't bigger than him. Luke Campbell name ain't bigger than him. You ain't finna get no motherfucking Manny Pacquiao fight. You can stop that cap right now. So when you look at the 135 division and the 130 division, the biggest name in both of those divisions is Gervonta Tank Davis. That's the number one guy at both of those divisions, bro. That's the one that's on pay-per-view. When has Ryan Garcia or any of them been on pay-per-view yet? Tank just been on pay-per-view, 200,000 plus, right? Every venue he go to, he sell out, right? Now, people are this and that, but look what he just did in the goddamn pandemic. Look what he just did in the pandemic. So we already know who the biggest stars are, right? Okay, you want to say the man Teofimo is the number one fighter at 135, you got the strap, I give him that. You want to put Devin number 2, I give him that. But now these days, that don't mean shit.
Exactly.
That don't mean shit. It's about who putting asses in the seats, right? And I'm happy you mashed that together because I never looked at it like that. He knows. Lightweight, junior lightweight. It's the motherfucking same. And I'm happy you brought that up because now that's another point for me, bro. So my thing is, right, because they don't want to get Tank credit for Leo Santa Cruz. And this is what drives me crazy, right? This is what drives me crazy. Oh, he's supposed to do that to him. He was supposed to. No, you're not supposed to do shit. You're not supposed to do nothing, bro. You got to go in there. You have to do it. Just because you say, oh, man, he gonna knock him out. And this is why I tell everybody this shit, you know. Oh, man, he was supposed to knock him out. Then I said, how much money did you win? Huh? How much money did you win? Oh, I ain't bet. Well, don't tell me nothing. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Because if you really believe it and you saying he was going to do it, you should be sitting with a motherfucking bankroll off that knockout. So missing with the bullshit, right? So I look at the situation like, bro, it's fucked up. Because this, like you say, this fight right here, those 2 fights right there, bro, could have set a statement, right? That we the young guys and we doing what the older guys not doing, right? You got Tank and you got Ryan fight, you got Devin, you got Teofimo fight. That's the best of the best at the division, as so-called people want to say it. There's no other division that's doing that right now. Where y'all can jump ahead and say, okay, we bringing it back to the golden ages, right? We showing that we're not afraid to lose. We showing that we're trying to get the fans what they want. And y'all go make y'all money, bro. Y'all are going to make y'all money. Y'all would have set the boxing world on fire. That's respect right there. And not only that, though, he knows if they lose, you're still young enough to build yourself back up from that loss, bro. You feel me? But they not planning like that, bro. They're not planning like that. That's why I say I'm looking at this shit. Whoever signed on the dollar line, that's what it's going to be. But I'm going to speak my piece on this shit. Ryan Garcia will get his ass knocked out in 2 rounds against Manny Pacquiao. He talking about 2 rounds. You'll knock Tank out in 2 rounds. Pacquiao will sleep your ass in 2 rounds. And them dude go tell me he's not going to knock out no Ryan Garcia in 2 rounds. Man, who the hell you think you're talking to? Like, that boy ain't taking no punches from Tank. He ain't taking no punches from Manny Pacquiao. So let's quit playing with with all this stupid, you know what I mean? Like stupidity, bro. Like, so I'm just waiting on to see who is this big fight that you go get. Even at 140, there's nobody named at 140 that's bigger than Gervonta Davis. There's nobody named at 140, not 140, not 135, not motherfucking 130, bro. Not 126 or anything under, bro. Tank is one of the biggest stars in boxing, bro. Put him in. That's why I told Teofimo, bro. Tank been had millions of dollars. You just now touching millions of dollars, bro. Tank been did that. Now Tank is a 2-division world champion, bro. You are a 1-time unified world champion. Okay, we give you that, bro. But Tank is a 2-division world champion. Hold 2 titles in 2 divisions, bro. And y'all still chasing him. For y'all to be so damn big y'all are still chasing Gervonta Davis. So when we look at the situation, bro, it's bullshit. But we knew that Oscar De La Hoya was not. I repeat, he was not, like you say, going to put his next little supposedly cash cow in the ring with Tank, because that's the only thing he got to hold on to. He can say Virgil Ortiz, he can say Jaime McGill, but right now we know who the biggest name is Ryan Garcia. That's the biggest story, and you got to listen to him. You don't want to piss him off because he's up on the Canelo, so you don't want to piss him off, and Canelo get to telling him shit that bring him away from your ass. So you're gonna do everything you could do to protect Ryan Garcia and to make him happy. You know what I mean? So I feel like it was just a whole capping situation. So he can get us to this point right now. He knows talking about, oh, just wait for my next fight. It's going to be bigger than Gervonta Davis. Well, I'm waiting to see, motherfucker. I'm gonna wait to see who your next fight will be.
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought up those points, because people got to understand, like, that's how it is in boxing. Lightweight division has junior lightweight and lightweight. Welterweight has junior welterweight and welterweight. And Gervonta Tank Davis, I don't want to see him go to 147 because of his height, but his cap to me is 140. Yeah. That's as high as I see his ceiling going, only because of his height. Because if he goes to 147 with that height, then he could be dealing with some issues. And it's not to say that he can't be successful, because, I mean, he dropped Ivan Redkach. Ivan Redkach is the bottom of the barrel. That's why I don't want him going to 147. I want him to cap off at 140 only because of the height. Same issue that Vasily Lomachenko had. But see, we as fight fans, we have to be honest with ourselves, man. We have to tell ourselves the truth. When you love your brethren, you got to chastise them, man. You got to admonish them. You got to correct them. Devin Haney is a brethren that I love. I don't know him from beanstalks. I don't know him from two flying cows fucks. I don't know him from I don't know. But what I do know is if he falls his butt up under the Floyd Mayweathers, he will be crispier than a three-piece chicken. I mean, these are just facts. This is what happened when he was with Senior. Since the Alfredo Santiago fight, he's been getting exposed. And we can't be too many of Devin Haney fanboys. We can't be too much of a fanboy that we're not seeing these things, man. We're not seeing the issues that's associated with Devin Haney. We have to tell the truth on Devin Haney. And I'm going to tell the truth on him. For every lie that's being told, I'm going to tell the truth on him because I have to. And I done told you guys, natural born leaders, we're wired to cut against the grain. If you are a leader, you will naturally cut against the grain each and every single time. Only followers cut within the grain. And cutting against the grain is telling the truth, even when it's something that you don't want to hear. That's what the great Kobe Bryant said. When everybody's going and steering in a wave of one way, I like to be the villain. I like to take on the villain role, and I like to steer the other way because I just like that challenge of having to go against the tides and proving everybody wrong. That's my mindset. That's the way that I'm wired. And the way that I'm wired is to tell people the cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat truth-teller fashion. What is that? Devin Haney has been capping. The proof is in the pudding in the Gary Russell Jr. fight. And you know why that was evident when you brought that up, Monnie, the big stepper, is because Gary Russell Jr. revealed a lot about Devin Haney. That if Devin Haney fights a real opponent, he don't want that free smoke, man. He don't want that fight. And when it's all said and done, he will get exposed. Now we see why he didn't fight Gary Russell Jr. because the Eucurus Gamboa fight told us everything we needed to know. It gave us the data that was collected. Take out Eucurus Gamboa, Monty Brown. I want you to envision this because I've already envisioned this in my brain. That's why I could say it confidently and emphatically. And put Gary Russell Jr. Younger guy, quicker reflexes, sharper. Think of all of the counter punching that Devin Haney is susceptible to. Think of Gary Russell Jr.'s speed that he has over Eucurus Gamboa. And think of how that fight's going to play out. We're talking about Devin Haney having a L that would humiliate and humble him. That's why Bill Haney made sure that Devin Haney ducked Gary Russell Jr. And see, what people got to understand when it comes to fighters, your handlers represent you as a fighter. Because when your handlers say something, it's because they're getting it from the fighter. A handler could be the head coach / trainer. A handler could be someone that's a close confidant. The handler could be like, for instance, with Errol Spence, his father, with Teofimo Lopez Sr., with Devin Haney, Bill Haney. These are your handlers. And when your handlers is saying something and you as the fighter, you're not coming back to to double back and refute them or rebuke them or to ether murk or napalm them, then you're confirming what they're saying. Everything Bill Haney was saying to duck and avoid Gary Russell Jr., Devin Haney was right there co-signing it. So that means this is the bravado that Devin Haney was feeling. From that moment on, I knew that Devin Haney was email champion status, and he wasn't a real champion. Because if Devin Haney was a real champion, he would have proven it by that fight. You can't call yourself a boogeyman if you're not willing to take on boogeyman risk. And I'm going to put something out here. Devin Haney is the Terrence Bud Crawford of 135. Yeah, I said it. And I meant it when I said it. He is the Terrence Bud Crawford of 135. All he's doing is he's being a chihuahua walking behind the damn fence, just like Terrence Bud Crawford did at 147. Telling you everything that sounds good, but your actions are speaking something differently. The good book tells us to not be sayers, but to be doers of the word, right? To be doers of your action. We don't go by what you're talking about. We're going about what we're seeing from you. And what we're seeing from Devin Haney is not something that showcases real bravado. It's something that showcases fake bravado, man. This is why I got to keep telling people this stuff. The Gary Russell Jr. situation showed me everything I needed to know. And you know what happened? Gary Russell Jr. became someone they left because now they have the ability to promote through Devin Haney. They basically left Gary Russell Jr. hanging. You didn't, Monnie Brown. You stayed with Gary Russell Jr. But a lot of your cohorts, man, they left Gary Russell Jr. hanging because Gary Russell Jr. wasn't what they were on no more. It was all on Devin Haney because they're getting interviews from Devin Haney now. You see, this is what it boils down to. Just because we get interviews from somebody, that means we still can't tell the truth about them. Because in journalism, right, when we say we're the new media, that means we have to represent something that's different from the old media. But if we are doing the same thing that the old media is doing, what makes us any different? This is what we got to ask ourselves, man. If it's because we want our own best interest, then we're no different because that's what the old media is all about, right? It's about their own best interest at heart. They don't care about telling the truth. But when you love your brother, you admonish them and you chastise them, you tell the truth about him. And Devin Haney was getting exposed since the Alfredo Santiago fight. That's why I tell people, go back, do film study, and watch that fight. He was getting hit with too many counter-punching shots that if he was with the Mayweathers, that shit wouldn't have happened. It would never happen. Because Floyd Mayweather teaches you how to box on your damn toes. He teaches you how to out-counterpunch the counterpunching. You're not supposed to be sitting there getting hit with counterpunching shots when you are crispier than a three-piece and you under the Mayweathers. It's because of Bill Haney and him telling him in that fight, and I want y'all to listen to it, when he told him, fight like Roy Jones, fight like Roy Jones, fight like Roy Jones. What the hell is that? Devin Haney doesn't fundamentally fight like Roy Jones. He doesn't even have the body makeup of Roy Jones. He doesn't have the athleticism of Roy Jones. He's not the fighter mentally that Roy Jones is. So how can you fight like a fighter that you're not? No two fighters are alike. How about fight like Devin Haney? This is the guy that in our community, we got three types, right, Monnie Brown? We got the Afro-American, like Malcolm X said, right? We have the quintessential Negro, like Malcolm X said, and then we got the nigga, like Malcolm X said. Bill Haney is a nigga because this nigga didn't want to accept the fact that Floyd Mayweather Sr. told him, you don't know shit about boxing. I'm the one that's supposed to train your son. He was feeling some type of way, man. And then not only that, Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ellerbe and them told him, listen, you don't know how to govern business affairs. So because you don't know how to govern business affairs, you need to sit to the side and let us handle it. He didn't like that. That was like a double whammy, a double truth being told to him. But in low rent P. Diddy fashion, instead of him taking that cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat truth-teller fashion, he didn't want to take it. You know what he did? Oh, I'm taking my son out. But see, in doing that, if you remember, there was a British fighter. You're going to remind me of his name. I can't think of his name right now. You remember he used to train up under Mayweather Sr., right? His dad did the same shit. What's his name again?
Esther Payne?
No, not Theo Fane. His dad did the same shit that Mayweather Sr. was training him. And if you recall,
Chris Eubanks Jr.
There you go, Chris Eubanks Jr. Chris Eubanks Jr., if he would have stayed with Mayweather Sr., he would have been crispier than a three-piece. But he listened to his dad. The reason why I'm using that example is because an example has already been laid out in front of you that when you go against the Mayweathers, this is what your fate ends up being. And look at Chris Eubanks Jr. Since he listened to his dad, didn't see his dad, and fall upon the Mayweather Sr., what has been his boxing career? He got exposed, man. He got the shit beaten out of him in a fight that he wasn't supposed to lose if he would have been under the Mayweather Seniors. Am I not lying? Come on, man. We preaching and we teaching over here, man. So this is the same thing with Devin Haney. So we have to tell the truth on Devin Haney. Devin Haney is going to be more Chris Eubanks Jr. than he ever will be a Floyd Mayweather if he doesn't bend the proverbial fucking knee, kiss the ring while it's at it, and like they do with the Pope, and fall his ass up on the Floyd Mayweather, man. If he don't do that, his career will be more Chris Eubanks Jr. than it ever will be Floyd Mayweather. And that's all I got to say on that.
Wonder what he knows you cooking that shit. You know, I fuck with you, dog. And I will agree. If he was with the Mayweathers, he will be. I think he'll be a 12-piece crispy. You know what I mean? Because he got all the intangibles. He got all the skills. He see the tools in him, right? I told this to Bill Haney. I said this to Bill Haney, right? You know, I keep it 100. You know, I don't say shit that I don't believe, right? I told him, I say, listen, I got Teofimo right now with Devin Haney, man. On the strength of, I want y'all to focus on his boxing ability. Like when Floyd fought, right? Floyd didn't give a damn how he wanted to fight, as long as he wanted to fight, right? If you can't force me to sit there and fight with you and knock your ass out, well, I'm not gonna give it to you. You feel me? If I can beat you, just outbox your ass and make it an easy night, I'm gonna do it every time. That's my whole agenda in this ring: hit and not get hit. And I told Bill that. I say, man, listen, I want y'all to go out there, focus on Devin boxing skills because that is his strength. That's his strength. Hit, not get hit, I'll box your ass, make you try to hit me, make you look stupid, frustrate you. And while I'm frustrating you in the mix of that, I'm gonna make you miss and I'm gonna make your ass pay. You know what I'm saying? Whether if that make you pay, drop your ass or not, or you feel that shit, I'm gonna make you pay. You know what I mean? Now, for us them Raul and Devin, that's what they do. That's how they get down. That's they guy. You feel me? I like Devin myself. You know what I mean? I like him myself. But you know, Tank is my man's. And I don't think nobody beats Tank, regardless of the situation. You know what I'm saying? But when we're sitting out here and we're looking at the whole situation, I think Devin will be all right, man. It comes down to his mindset. It comes down to him if he gets stuck in that mindset, or I want to. And another thing, you know, because you know this social media shit, bro. Why these kids be so young, bro, and they going back and forth with each other, and they see Tank with the knockout power, right? They look at Tank with the knockouts. They think that's the only way, you know, to bring excitement to the ring is with knockouts. And yes, it's true. Everybody want to see knockouts. Don't get me wrong. That's a part of Tank bravado. That's what got him to where he at. But Tank also can box, and he's smart in that ring. He don't just like if you're born with power, you're born with it. It ain't something that you can put in you. It ain't something that people. Oh, I'm gonna get stronger. Yeah, you can get physically stronger. That don't mean you go hit harder. Some people get physically stronger and hit. Some hitting power leave. So when I'm looking at the situation, you got to go out there and sell yourself to the people as what you do best. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna hit this motherfucker and I'm not gonna get hit. Okay, yeah, you might got power, but can you hit me with that power? You know what I'm saying? You got to go out there, and that's what you got to preach to the people. You got to preach that to the choir, like you say. He knows. Just think if Devin would have said, "I'm gonna go out here against Gamboa and I'm gonna beat him. I'm gonna beat him, and I'm not gonna get touched. I'm not." He like you say, okay, he touched Tank. He touched. He hurt Crawford. He touched Tank. I'm not gonna get touched by him. And if you went out there and styled on him where he couldn't touch you or hit you, then you lived up to what you said. But instead of you saying, "Oh, go out there and beat him worse than anybody else," and I held his feet to the fire, like I hold everybody else's feet to the fire. When you say go out there and beat him worse than Tank, I'm gonna beat him worse than Bud. That means we looking for a knockout within 5 or 4 rounds. You gotta go out there and you gotta knock this motherfucker out. You gotta hurt him, you gotta put him down. And I got corrected by my brother Batman, you know, Gary Russell, big brother, because I said I didn't see Gamboa. I didn't even see him hurt Gamboa. Like I haven't went back and watched the fight, but they said he hurt him. You know what I mean? But me watching the fight, I didn't see him hurt him. And then I had to correct them on this when they say Gamboa was there to survive. I disagree.
I disagree too.
I disagree because I seen Gamboa telling him, "Come on, let's fight." Yep. I seen Gamboa literally saying, "Come on, let's fight." So a motherfucker to survive ain't telling you, "Come on, let's fight." You feel me? You trying to just bag up like he was doing with Tank. That's what you call trying to survive.
Hitting him with counterpunching. How How you keep hitting somebody every round with counter punching, but you survive it? That don't make no sense.
Exactly. You gotta press that action. You gotta press that pace. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So, man, listen, like you say, I respect Devin, man, enough to where I'm gonna tell him the truth about himself. I'm gonna tell Bill Haney the truth about himself. I rocks with him. Like I rocks with my woman to win. I want you to beat Teofimo Lopez ass. I want you to go out there and become undisputed. You feel me? My brother Tim Johnson was going down. I want you to go out there and become undisputed champ. You feel me? But right now, I don't see you beating Teofimo Lopez. I don't see you beating him. That's just real. I don't see you beating Tank. I'll give you a shot against Ryan, but Ryan do got popped. So I look at the situation, you know, and man, I'm with you. I want the best of the best for Devin. I feel like he should have stayed with Big Floyd. Now, right now, I don't know what conditioning Big Floyd in right now. We know as the years goes on, you get older. Maybe you slow down things of that nature. But you got Little Floyd over there. You know what I mean?
And recently, we seen him in Little Floyd training. So I mean, come on, he could easily transfer or do a transference from Big Floyd to Little Floyd. I mean, it's the same Floyd, right?
Yep. So once you do that situation, now you got somebody that's been in the fire with you. And guess what Floyd gonna tell you? Don't rush. What Floyd always tell Tank? You don't gotta rush. It's a 12-round fight. It's a 12-round fight. You don't have to rush. You feel me? Go out there, take your time, figure this motherfucker out, break him down, and then if you see the opening, you take it. But if not, you just keep doing what you're doing, breaking this motherfucker down. Eventually, either he go crumble or he go be in good shape at last. But when that bell say ding ding, if it's a 12th round, you beat his ass good enough to where you got the victory. And guess what? You didn't take no punishment. You can go back into training camp in a month or two. You can get back in the gym and you can get ready for your next fight. You know what I mean? That's a man down. So when people think a man down got to be a knockout, no, it don't have to be a knockout. Because once you scratch a motherfucker off a list, guess what that is? You know, that's another man down, and you move on to the next. You feel me? And that's how you get down in these boxing streets. But man, it's much love to Devin, it's much love to Bill. This is no knocking nobody, but this boxing game is chess, it's not checkers. You know what I mean? It is chess, it's not checkers. And if you continue to do things one way, you know what I mean, you will get figured out in this game, bro. That's just the nature of the beast.
You know why I love YouTube videos, man? You know why I love the fact that YouTube gives us ability to put our content out there and to really be the public figures that we are and really have history and content that we can go by. Because on this side of the history, when Devin Haney gets exposed, because he is going to get exposed. Y'all know I'm Nostradamus out here, so I'll be always foretelling what's going to happen, be foretelling events. When he gets exposed, everyone's going to remember Hkhs Sport was warning this kid. Monnie Brown was warning this kid, but he wouldn't listen because everybody's on the train. See, when you're on the train and you want to be on that wave because you want to come up, and you don't want to tell the truth, what happens is you end up becoming yes men and not telling people what they should know. Over here on this platform, we're firm proponents of being authentic, consistent, and telling you not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear, especially at that critical moment. Devin Haney's going to get exposed. And it's going to be at a time where he's going to get exposed so bad. I'm telling y'all everything that's going to happen. When this happens, y'all going to be like, damn, Hkhs Sport called this thing to a T. He's going to fire Bill Haney. He's going to want to get back with the Mayweathers. And Floyd at that point is going to go, stop the presses and pump the brakes on the nonsense. Go sit down somewhere and what? Higgity fucking hush. I got Gervonta Tank Davis. I'm full-time with him. I was trying to become him and you, but you wouldn't listen. So I don't need you no more. Because Floyd don't deal with losers. Look at what's going on with Adrian Broner. If you don't listen to Floyd, I'm telling you, I already know Floyd's MO. Floyd gonna give you that whole mentality of minor setback for a major comeback, but only for so long. Then you stop listening to him. He treats you as a pariah, a reprobate mind. And we all know reprobate minds, once they become that at that level, there's no turning them back. So you leave them be to their own reprobated state. That's Devin Haney right there. And I'm telling y'all, this is exactly what's going to happen. He's going to fire Bill Haney. He's going to now go on a rant and start clowning all of these people that were supposedly on his side of the aisle. And then everybody's going to scatter like La Cucaracha stuff. That's exactly what's going to happen. And then we're going to have my content and we're going to have your content that if they were listening and paying attention all of this time, that was telling them you should have got rid of Bill Haney. Sometimes you just got to be hard line with the truth, man. You can't. The thing with the truth is you can't sugarcoat it, man. There's nothing cute about the truth. It's just telling it exactly the way it is. Bill Haney is his dad. Nobody's not saying that his dad can't be around his son. But Bill Haney is like the way Errol Spence Sr. is. He should just be a close confidant. He should just be a close advisor around the son.
Handle the business.
He should handle the business. Leave the boxing affairs to Floyd Mayweather. Leave the promoting affairs to like a Al Heyman type, and then just be right there to be his manager. That's it. Some fathers should just be that, and that's it. Errol Spence Sr. is a perfect example of what some of these fathers should be. But Bill Haney is living so vicariously through his son. And I honestly believe there's jealousy between him and his son. I honestly believe that. Can nobody tell me otherwise? And the reason why I'm saying this is because he wants to be so much like his son that if you notice when his son is talking, he's always taking the mic. That's why I call him a low-rent P. Diddy. He's always in the damn videos. He always got something to say. He's doing what Kenny Porter used to do with Sean Porter. And at some point, Sean Porter finally grew a pair and said, nah, I ain't allowing this no more. And what happened? Kenny Porter had to get pushed to the side. I'm telling you, this is all that I'm seeing from Bill Haney. And Devin Haney, because he respects his father so much and he loves his father so much, and there's nothing wrong with that, he's being so blind by that he's not even telling his dad the truth. That, you know what? The way that I was brought up, the way that people knew who I was as a fighter is because I was with the Mayweathers. That's what brought me out there. So this is where I got to stick. And like the old saying says, if it ain't broke, why are you trying to fix it, man? It wasn't broke when you was with the Mayweathers. So why are you trying to fix it? And see, people don't want to tell the truth, but there was a public breakup between Mayweather Sr. and Bill Haney. You saw it. I saw it, Monnie Brown. We saw the videos. When Bill Haney and Floyd Sr. was getting at it, we saw it. We saw Bill Haney basically was disrespecting his elder on live TV because Mayweather Sr. was trying to say something and Bill Haney wasn't trying to hear it. And we saw there was a public breakout that happened between the two. Ever since then, Bill Haney's been feeling some type of way, and he feels that now he has to self-train his son. But if self-training your son was what it was, then why did you even bring him to the Mayweathers first? Whew. What I said was so deep and profound. If self-training was what it was, right, and you was that dude, why did you bring them to the Mayweathers in the first place? That means you knew you couldn't take your son to the level that these guys could take him to. And it's okay to know when somebody's on a higher plane than you. What did Tupac say? Tupac says a natural born leader knows that when they meet an authority that's above them and that they respect, they know how to fall up under that authority. That's deep what Pac said, man. This is what Bill Haney should have done. He met an authority that was higher than him, the Mayweathers. I mean, the legacy of Floyd Money Mayweather, a guy who was undefeated, a guy whose boxing ability inside and outside the ring cannot be argued upon, man. We're talking about a guy that was impenetrable in terms of cash cow status and a guy that's impenetrable in terms of ring status, a guy that collects the data, a guy that's undefeated, a guy that systematically breaks down his opponents, a guy that can figure you out in a matter of a few rounds. Devin Haney has the physical wherewithals and the abilities to, if he falls his ass completely under Floyd Mayweather. Devin Haney's one of those students. He's not a prodigy. He's one of those students. If he wants to become like the master, he has to completely, utterly, through submission, bend the fucking knee. There shouldn't be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not 2%, not 5%, 100% of bending the proverbial fucking knee and kissing the ring. This is the only way he will be able to get the transference of the ability from him to from Floyd to him. That's the only way it's going to work. All this stuff about people saying Devin Haney got skills and all that, but who made him like that? It was the Mayweathers, man. Devin Haney was a raw talent, was a kid who was just choppy. You could see the choppiness was there all along with this kid. And what happened when he got with the Mayweathers? They said, okay, we see something there. We just got to own it. And we got to mold it. And if we mold it and we owned it completely, we can turn this thing around. And that's what was starting to happen because his wildness was starting to get cleaner and cleaner. That's why he got exposed the way he did against Shakur Stevenson in that sparring. Shakur saw how wild he was, and Shakur was already so gifted, and Shakur naturally gifted, and Shakur had the Olympic ability and the Olympic experience. He was picking Devin Haney apart in that sparring easily. Can't nobody tell me otherwise. He was just picking him apart. You could tell he was just a step higher. But Devin Haney was getting better and better and better after that, because Devin Haney was falling completely under the Mayweathers. And then what happened when he left? That wildness started coming back. The choppiness started coming back. That choppy overhead right, Alfredo Santiago. You ain't going to do to Alfredo Santiago what you did to Antonio Moran, because the game plan in that fight when he fought Alfredo Santiago was this guy was a counterpuncher. So he's going to counterpunch you. And if you don't have the defense to stay on your toes enough, how can you basically out counterpunch a guy like that that's counterpunching you? He got exposed in that fight, man. When I saw that fight, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? And then that's when I came to the conclusion, oh, the Mayweathers are not in the corner. Because you ain't gonna tell me Mickey Bay ain't the Mayweathers, man. It's gotta be Mayweather or bust. That's it. Devin Haney's one of those type of students that he has to be under the tutelage of the master the whole way. Like, they can't just be partiality with him. There's some students, they just need to be around you for a little bit, like Kevin Durant with Kobe in basketball. Kevin Durant just need Kobe for a little season, and then look at him now. But guys like Kawhi Leonard, they got to be under Kobe all the time. That's what Devin Haney is. He got to be up under the Mayweathers the whole damn time. The second he goes away from that, he looks bad. And if people are not telling this truth on Devin Haney, then you're not being real, man. And you can't call yourself new media if you're not giving us new media material. That's why I stand with that. Now, I know a lot of people they want to straddle the fence. They don't want to be hardline. No, you got to be hardline with the truth, man, all the time, 1,000%, because the truth is not meant to be cute with it. It's meant to tell it how it is. And the reason why I respect you, Monnie Brown, is because you have told your cohorts the truth. Me, I'm going to tell it to them in the most visceral way. And I ain't got issue with no damn body, but I'm going to tell it because the revolution was not televised. But in this instance with YouTube, it's videofied. And it's videofied on this platform, and it's videofied on your platform. And that's the cold-hearted truth. Devin Haney looked like shit since he left the Mayweathers. He needs to bend the proverbial fucking knee, kiss the ring, be completely under Mayweather Jr. now, not senior, and say, look here, man, I need to be up under you so that I can be crispy. Because I'm telling you, absence that, Teofimo Lopez knocks his ass out. That's all I got to say with that.
Man, you cooking on cooking, dog. Cooking on cooking. But, I'm always speaking my truth, man. I ain't gonna sugarcoat shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how we feel, bro. Like I said, me and my bro Keon, we had motherfucking Bill Haney on the show. And both of us favorite Teofimo Lopez over Devin Haney. But we still gonna give credit where credit is due. You know what I'm saying? So when we look at it, I think it will be a better fighter, even if, like I said, Mickey Bay was right there training him. You feel me? Just to keep his head level. But with Dev, man, like I say, we'll see what happens with him in the future. Like I said, he got the skills, bro. He has the skills. He has all the tools. You know what I mean? To compete with anybody and to beat anybody. But it's just up to him and his mindset. What mindset he going to that ring with? Do you want to go in there and box and not get hit? Or do you want to go in there and prove that you got some power and try to knock a motherfucker out and set yourself up for the okie doke and get your damn self knocked out? You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's going to come down to with Devin Haney, man. He got a ring IQ that's high as fuck. You know what I mean? He need to use that ring IQ, sharpen that ring IQ, and keep those skills intact, man. You know what I mean? Hit and not get hit, make them motherfuckers frustrated, make them miss and pay. And you can do that shit all night. Night. If they can't force you to fight, then it is what it is. You feel me? Floyd won, that motherfucker just wanted to win. He didn't give a fuck how he won. You know what I mean? He went in there and won. But even if they like you or even if they hate you, as long as you're winning, they gonna want to see you. Shit, they gonna want to see you. You feel me? But that's like what the rest I got to say on Devin Haney. Yeah.
You good, Monnie?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, so let's jump on to the next topic then. Deontay Wilder. Now, I said I came out with a little mini series, and I know it was controversial, you know what, but you know me, man. When me and controversy, we tend to mesh with one another. It is what it is, man. And in the video, I said that Deontay Wilder took a paid to lose via Glovegate, because paid to lose come in so many different forms, so many different facets, and so many different variations. I sat there and I looked at Wilder and Fury 2. I've gone back and watched that fight so many times, man. It hurts my head how many times I've gone back and watched that fight. And it reconfirmed every time I've watched it. Thank you, Monnie. Mayweather had Devin looking crispy on the miss. That's all I want to hear, man. If people are telling the truth about themselves and they telling the truth, thank you. That's it. Crispier than a fucking three-piece. Now, let me get on to the Deontay Wilder. I'll leave that one up for a little bit because that one makes sense. Deontay Wilder, man, I'm disappointed in him and I'm ashamed in what he did, because I looked at every calendar year, and you know me, man, I don't say anything. I will not put myself out there and put myself in jeopardy. All the hard work I've done on my content to sit there and to just say whatever because I just want to get views, or I just say whatever because it makes sense. If that was the case, then I would be cooning buffooning, and I'd probably be at 1 million subscribers by now, just like anybody else that does that. But that's not what this platform is about, because I understand when you are a public figure, everything that you say will be quantified, calculated, verified, and certified. And if you basically compromise, what's going to happen is people are going to go back to that and they're going to say, but on one end you said this, on one end you said that. Everyone can look at a Hnos Sport catalog and can see authenticity and consistency all the way through. If anything, I just got better as the content came on, in terms of my speaking ability, in terms of what I say, et cetera, et cetera. That's what you're going to get, but it's still authentic and consistent all the way through, because I always keep that same energy, dog, right? But the bottom line is this. Deontay Wilder, when I went back and look at the fight over and over again, I said, where was the bronze bomber? Where was the activation? Where was the possession? Where was the athleticism? Where was the explosion? Where was the baptizing? Where was the catching a body? None of that was evident. Everything about his body language. Shit, this motherfucker was showing himself eating soul food. Deontay Wilder's never done this before, man. He's never done this before. Eating soul food right before a fight. You and I know that in a fighter's life, eating comfort food slows you the fuck down. Even at the heavyweight division, where you don't have to worry about it being, you got to make weight, right? You got to be within a certain weight class. But how eating soul food is going to help you out. And then we got to look at his handlers. You look at the people that's around him, they looking just as fresh as him. Don't get it twisted. We've seen handlers that's around the fight. Ain't nobody looking better than the damn fighter. Ain't no handler looking better than Gervonta Tank Davis. He always gonna look the best. Ain't no handlers looking better than Errol the True Spence. He always gonna look the best of the crew. Ain't no handlers gonna look better than Floyd Mayweather. He always looking better than the crew. But Deontay Wilder's handlers are looking just as good as him. Who they getting their money from? They ain't getting the money because they made their own money. They're getting from Deontay Wilder. Listen to what Deontay Wilder said at the end of the fight, man. I had so many distractions. I had so many things going on. I had so many things behind the scenes that was happening that I couldn't focus. That's what caused me to lose the fight. I've never heard Deontay Wilder say that at the end of any other fucking fight. And then we got to call a spade here, man. He has folks that's around him that they're just leeches, man. Financially, they're leeches around him. And Deontay Wilder, the thing with him is his passion and his authenticity and consistency. I could relate to it, but to what I can't relate is me. I have it composed. I have it measured on my end. Him, he has it to the extreme. He's such an authentic and consistent dude to the extreme that he kind of lets anybody in, and that opens window for people to use and abuse. And that's what's happening. That whole shit with Jay Diaz And now people was getting on JDS. All of that was scripted, man. People forget boxing is a three-pronged monster. Economics, politics, and pugilism. Didn't Bob Arum and Frank Warren tell us that before the first punch of the first fight, there was going to be a trilogy? How the hell did they know there was going to be a trilogy before the first punch of the first fight? Everybody signed on the side of, on the dotted line. It wasn't just Tyson Fury's folks. Deontay Wilder's folks signed it on the dotted line in the trilogy. We don't know what was behind the scenes and what was all in the verbiage or whatever. I'm just going off of pure discernment, man. And my discernment, spidey sense keeps going off. And y'all know when I be discerning stuff, everything always come back to be exactly the way that I discern it. And my discernment keeps firing off that in the trilogy, with everything that they signed up and everything that they did, this was scripted. Deontay Wilder was starting to make excuses that Deontay Wilder's never done before, man. I'm telling y'all. Then go look at the calendar year 2020 and look at every other calendar year. Wilder never made that kind of money. Wilder was on Forbes. And I'm not saying that Wilder's not a money generator. Don't get it twisted. Because, you know, a lot of people, when you're telling people the truth, a lot of times the truth and hate, there's a thin line between them and people don't understand. And a lot of times people get so caught up in their fanboyism or their fangirlism, they can't see the cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat truth-telling fashion behind what you're saying. I'm a big, staunch supporter of Deontay Wilder. My catalog speaks volumes. But I'm not going to sit here, just like with Devin Haney, I'm not going to do that with Deontay Wilder. I'm not going to lie, man. He disappointed me, and I was ashamed. Because Errol the True Spence would never take no damn paid to lose. Floyd Mayweather would never take no damn paid to lose. Andre Ward would never take no paid to lose because they understand as brothers, once you get robbed and lynched that way, like he did in Black History Month, he got robbed and he got lynched, there ain't no coming back from that. Because even when Deontay Wilder comes back and beats Tyson Fury, catches a body and baptizes him, he can't remove the stain of the fact that he got glove-gated in Wilder and Fury 2. He can't remove that, man. That shit will always forever be there. All he had to do was say, hell no, I'm not going to take this paid to lose, man. But he did because he wanted the money, man. That's what it boils down to. All of this, J. Diaz, this and JD. Listen, man, all of this shit was scripted. And we've seen more corrupt stuff in boxing. Let's not fool ourselves. Let's not put wolves over our eyes and act like boxing is not corrupt. See, this is the problem with boxing community fan bases. They only want to succumb, right? And they only want to expect boxing being corrupt when it fits their selective bias or their selective theology. It don't work like that, man. That's just like Vasily Lomachenko when me and Monnie Brown were the only ones that said that Vasily Lomachenko was bribed and robbed. And because Vasily Lomachenko came out a few weeks later, oh, he's the great white hope because he was white, they wouldn't believe it. But if it was a black fighter, we gonna believe it? Come on, man. We got to keep that same energy all across the board. He said a few weeks later after the fight, the boxing judges were paid off. Vasily Lomachenko never made no damn excuses before. And then Bob Arum came back. I was happy because so many Prediction King fashions happened that Hkhs Sport was right all the fucking long, and Monnie Brown was right all along about that. Because Bob Arum came back and clowned it. Oh, him and Deontay Wilder, they're fools. They don't know what they're talking about. Bob Arum is an old car salesman, a.k.a. shiesty motherfucker. That's what it boils down to. So when it's all said and done, we have to ask ourselves these bigger questions, man. Why did Deontay Wilder take this paid to lose via Glovegate, man? Because this is a stain on his boxing resume. And look, in so much so now that Tyson Fury is now clowning him like he's trying to get out of the damn trilogy. We know he can't get out of it. I'm glad he listened to a Hkhs Sport advice, a file an injunction on that ass. That's what he's doing now. It's in arbitration. But still, you got to deal with all of these. If he fights Andy Ruiz Jr., that's a regression. That's not a promotion. If he fights Dillian White, that's a regression. That's not a promotion. If he fights Big Titty Miller, that's not a regression. That's not a promotion. That's a regression, man. So when it's all said and done, we have to tell the truth here, man. And I love Deontay Wilder, but I'm going to tell the truth. Floyd Mayweather understood this. That's why Floyd Mayweather, you know how many times, Monnie Brown, you know, because you work behind the scenes. Every time I say something, Monty Brown can confirm it because Monty Brown be talking to these people. There's not one thing that he knows the sport say that Monty Brown say, oh, I got to fact check you, he knows. He can't because Monty Brown know everything I say is because I did my research myself. I don't talk to these people, but I've done enough research that when I open my mouth and I say something, it's something that can't be refuted. You know how many times Floyd been approached to take a L? He never did it. You know how many times Andre Ward was approached to take a L? Never happened. And I'm sure Errol the True Spence was approached on that shit. Never fucking took a L. But why did Deontay Wilder do that shit? It's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, So in its most cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat truth-teller fashion, we have to tell the underlying and the undercurrent truth. Deontay Wilder, I'm ashamed. I'm disappointed in you. You my brother. But when it's all said and done, you took a pay to lose via GovGate, and this will forever stain you, man. No matter what happens. And I know you're going to redeem yourself. You are forever stained off of this. That's all I got to say on that, man.
Yeah, this is what we got to beg the difference right here, You hear me? Because when I look at Wilder, I can't see Wilder compromise his dignity to take the bread and lose the fight, bro. When I'm looking at this situation, and I look at Tyson Fury, that motherfucker cheated, bro. I got to stand my ground on this one. That motherfucker came in there and cheated. You feel me? I feel like he cheated in the first fight. I feel like he cheated in the second fight. That's why he lost my respect, bro. He lost all my respect. When I look at Wilder, champ, right? And I respect what you're saying, right? When I look at Wilder, champ, it's just I can't see him, selling his pride and his dignity, for the paper. I can't, when you look at him, bro, he not gonna let no fucking Tyson Fury take him out, knowing his pride is so fucking strong, bro. Knowing everything he said in that post fight, you feel me, about his people in Black History Month, right? To let this motherfucker come in there and take you out over some money, hoping to get a third fight and beat his ass in the third fight, bro. This shit is just it's terrible. That's why he's taking the motherfucker to court right now to get that third fight. So when I'm looking at Deontay Wilder, champ, right? Because I fuck with Wilder and I ride with him 120%. Like I said, if they can prove in court that this motherfucker didn't cheat, then I'm gonna take that licking. I'm gonna take it. But how I feel right now, that motherfucker Fury is a cheater. He's a known cheater. He got a list longer than the Nile River as a fucking cheater, bro. Right? I'm not giving that motherfucker no benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? Now, boxing is a tricky business to where motherfuckers do take pays to lose fight. We know this. You know what I mean? It happened back in the history, things of that nature. So we understand that part of the business. But Deontay Wilder, knowing he got everything on the line, champ, knowing what's at stake, you feel me? Knowing how they would treat his ass if he lose that fight, I can't see him compromising like that, bro. I can't see him compromising like that. Especially him wanting to be undisputed, taking on Anthony Joshua motherfucking ass, trying to get that fight. Even though a lot of people try to say he ducked Joshua. He didn't duck Joshua. He was just being a man about the shit and was honoring his side of the fight with Tyson Fury motherfucking ass, who tried to fuck him over in this trilogy fight because he know he got caught cheating. That's why he don't want to get back in that ring, because he know what's gonna happen to his ass. He gonna get his ass knocked the fuck out. And these are my true feelings. He gonna get his ass knocked clean the fuck out because he know everything will be checked. He know the gloves will be checked. Everything will be on point. You know what I mean? Now, some of the accusations he came up with, I can't say he can prove all that shit. You know what I mean? And these are big accusations that he came out with. So when you come out with things like this, you got to have proof. You got to have some type of proof, right? And I feel like Deontay Wilder do got some type of proof. Otherwise, he won't be steadfast and he won't be standing strong on what he's saying. So what he's going to have to do, right? He's going to have to come out and prove that. He's going to have to show, oh, you said he did this. You said the doctor said he did that. And this what happened because of this. He got to come out and prove that shit to show the people that's the naysayers and the ones that don't believe him that the shit is true. And to keep from people like me taking that heat from believing your ass and you never came out with no proof. Because that's the thing that's going to happen if you don't come out with proof. Motherfuckers going to try to kill you and stand on that shit. But at the end of the day, with that situation, bro, I can't see Wilder compromising to take that money. I feel where you're coming from. You know what I mean? And like you say, you do your research to where, yes, we do know that this shit do happen in the boxing game where motherfuckers get paid off to lose fights. They throw the fights. And because what they say, the rematch, you'll make more money. You know what I'm saying? The rematch will be even more money. So now with what's going on, and Fury doing what he doing like a sucker now, I can't say that with y'all. So that's when you might have to look back into, bro. But you got your mind made up on what you feel, and I ain't here to try to turn your mind on that. But with Wax, bro, I just can't see him compromising for no punk ass Fury. You know what I'm saying? To try to go back in that motherfucker and get some extra money out of his ass.
And I understand your allegiance to Wilder, and I understand that you're gonna ride with Wilder all the way through. I respect Wilder, man. This is not me hating on Wilder.
Oh, no doubt.
Everybody knows I'm a staunch supporter of Deontay Wilder.
I see you multiple times.
Exactly. I can't sit here and see something in front of my eyes and not address it and hit it by his bullhorn. That's the way that I am. That's my platform. I'm always hit stuff by the bullhorn if it's not making sense. And it's not making sense. Where was the athleticism? Where was the explosion that night? Deontay Wilder's athletic, explosive every fight. All of a sudden, it disappeared that night. That's the things that make you say, man, it just disappeared. Like he couldn't activate the Bronze Bomber. Like all of a sudden, everything that happened, the video cam going off as long as it did. I mean, all of this stuff is scripted, man. This is no different than when Canelo Alvarez walked and went through the Jumbotron. And when Canelo Alvarez was told that he was a 4-time weight champion in 4 weight classes before he threw the first punch against Sergey Kovalev, man. Boxing is so scripted, man. And we can't sit here and act like it's not. And you just made an emphatic point that confirms and buffers the points that I've been making about the third fight's going to make even more money. The first fight made a killing. You know Wilder and Fury 2 is the biggest fight in boxing today, numbers-wise, out of any fight in the last 5 to 10 years. It's the biggest one, biggest generator. It's because Bob Arum and Frank Warren, the business connoisseurs that they are, they understood from the jump that this trilogy was going to pop off financially because you had 2 shit talkers. So we had to draw this thing out. So to me, with knowing that Bob Arum is involved, anytime Bob Arum is involved, you got to question it, man. Like there's no second guessing that. You got to question it. And then the fact that not only Bob Arum is involved, the fact that they said, now we know Monty Brown this to be true. They said it was going to be a trilogy before the first punch was thrown in the first fight. How did they know that? This was signed by everybody, Wilder included, a trilogy. So something has to happen from first fight, second fight, going into the third fight so that it can happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if the way that it worked was Wilder, you KO Fury in the first fight, you take a dive in the second fight, and then you get your vindication and come back in the third fight and catch a body. I wouldn't be surprised if the script was written that way. It seems as if that's the way the script is written because you're going to make money. Now, I understand everybody's going to hold their position, but I'm going to hold my position on that, man. That Deontay Wilder, he took it, man. He took a nosedive, and he took it because of the money, and that's fine. It is what it is, but that's my position on it, and that's why I'm going to leave it at. I know that as the months evolve and the things happen, when you see Deontay Wilder catch that body with Tyson Fury, Monty, you're going to be like, this motherfucker, he knows, dog. He called that shit again because he said it was going to be a catch a body in the third fight. And then the fact that it's scripted that way, I'm telling you, bro, you're going to see this and it's going to start making you even question it. You're going to be like, well, damn, did Wilder really? Because I can't wrap my brain around anything else. Floyd would have never done this. You know how much money Floyd left on the table because Floyd refused to take an L. You know how much money Andre Ward left on the table more than anybody because he refused to take that L. Because they know. That's why you saw they were staunch criticizers of Deontay Wilder. See, people didn't understand it at that time, but if you really go back, you could understand why they criticized him the way that they did. It's because they understood the ramifications. They understood how that L was going to do what it was going to do. And look what that L's done for him, man. It's gotten all of his haters criticize him. Because if Deontay Wilder never took that L, they would have even more to hate on. Because Wilder would be part of that, still that trilogy. Wilder fighting Andy Ruiz or fighting Dillian White or fighting Big Titty Miller, that's not a progression, man. It's a regression. He's part of that trinity. with him, Anthony Joshua, and freaking Tyson Fury. These are the fights that he's supposed to be fighting at this stage of his career. He's not getting any younger. He ain't no spring chicken. So why is he going backwards when he should be going forward? He should not be taking any of these fights in between. It should just be Fury and then Joshua. It's because this shit was scripted and it was meant for Wilder to get his just at the end. But man, he had to take a stain to get the just. And I don't like it, but I'm just addressing it. And that's just the way that I feel about it. And I just can't wait, because these are one of those things where you could savor the moment down the road. Y'all can't see what I'm talking about right now, but down the road, y'all gonna see it. And when y'all see it, y'all gonna be like, okay, Enos was talking some shit, man. He was telling us some shit. We wasn't listening. We wasn't paying attention, but now we're going to be listening. We're going to be paying attention. That's it. I'm going to leave it at that, Monnie. But I respect your stance. And this is why I always say this brother right here, I respect him because he kept his stance and he's saying what he has to say on his end. But I'm going to keep my stance and I'm going to say what I got to say on that end. We'll stay real TV. Salute to you, bro. Now let's get on to the next topic, man. Because we got to talk about this, Monnie. You got anything else you want to say on that before we jump on the next one?
Just this, when Wilder knocked that motherfucker out, it's going to be because his ass cheated and he came to that ring and he cleaned his ass up. You feel me? So at the end of the day, bro, like you said, you got your stance, I got my stance. I just don't see Wilder selling his integrity for no goddamn Tyson Fury, right? And I just like I say, Wilder can knock his ass out in the first fight, even in the second fight. In the second fight, my whole thing was Tyson Fury just coming forward, not worrying about what the fuck coming back at his ass, because he knew something was up. Either the gloves that had no padding or he had something in them motherfuckers to where, no, all I got to do is touch this motherfucker. He go feel it. You understand what I'm saying? He go feel it. I'm going to bust his ass open and we going to take it from there. You feel me? But at the end of the day, that third fight go prove it all. If we get the third fight, it's going to prove it all. You feel me? It's going to prove it all.
All right. That's what's up, bro. Now let's jump on to this next one, man. This is the main topic, dog. Errol Spence gave Floyd Mayweather a black eye, according to Sam Watson, man. I went back and I was watching the old video, Monnie the Big Stepper. And we know when you hear from Sam Watson, bro, you hear from Al Heyman. They are synonymous with one another because these are the two advisors. These were the guys that on the pillar of PBC, the foundation of PBC was started through these guys. And we knew that these guys were the two guys that were right there with Floyd. It's like when you think of Al Heyman and you think of how secretive Al Heyman is in terms of the fact that he's not really out there, Sam Watson is the opposite. He's out there. His sons are out there. You know, you see them at the end of the fight. We haven't been seeing Sam Watson as much. I don't know, because he's older and he kind of just passed the reins over to his sons, and now his sons are doing it more now. But that's what it was. It was always Sam Watson that you would see right there. And you would also see his sons right there as well, too. But Sam Watson said, I was there. And I saw that Errol Spence gave Floyd that black eye. Notice no one refuted him after that. That's why, to me, when we look at the difference between Errol Spence, why am I talking about this? The difference between Errol Spence and Devin Haney is this. Devin Haney focuses on him talking about him doing this and that to Gervonta Tank Davis, but it's coming from him. Whereas Errol Spence is always all of these accounts from everybody else. You don't hear Spence talking about it because Spence already tell you it's taboo to talk about what happens in sparring. And what happens in sparring stays in sparring. Spence went as far as to criticize even Gervonta Tank Davis on the Iron Red Cat. But I know why Gervonta Tank Davis did that, because Gervonta Tank Davis wanted to send a message to his haters that this is what I'm dealing with here. This is the power that I have. So y'all better not fuck with me. I'm better than everybody else. Can't nobody see me in the boxing ring. And ever since he did that with Ivan Redcat, the respect and the fear came back, right? But my thing is this. When you see a translucent image and you see a transparent image, it's kind of like when Kobe saw Jordan on the basketball court. And Kobe's like, I'm not afraid of him. I'm going to take him head on. That's what it was with Errol Spence. Ashley Theophane said Errol Spence just went and took on Floyd. He didn't care who he was by namesake. He wanted to prove that we're neck and neck. And when Errol Spence was interviewed, he said, yeah, me and Floyd are neck and neck. there's just certain people, they're cut a different way, man. And they always come once in a generation. Richard Schaefer said, we left the Mayweather era and we ushered into the Spence era. Freddie Roach said, they call him the truth because there's no lies in his damn fist. People don't want to accept that Errol Spence is special, man. This guy left a car crash, Monty Brown. A car crash. Came in, fought Danny Garcia, and beat the snot out of him. If that ain't special, I don't know what special is. So people got to understand, you're seeing a special fighter in front of you. So when we take that and we mesh that versus Terrence Crawford, the Chihuahua, for him behind the damn fist, it don't add up, bro. Because Terrence Crawford said, when I get the belt, I'm going to come in there and I'm going to bark at every welterweight, right? What has happened since? He's ducked Dennis Ugas. He's ducked Keith Thurman, the Titanic, flute playing. Yeah, Wood Stay Real TV. I got that one from you. So that was tight when you said that. He ducked Danny Garcia, bruh, over Mean Machine. He ducked freaking Sean Porter, and we know my buddy and me, because me and you say it all the time, Monty Brown, my buddy and me. He ducked him 4 or 5 times. And he knows he don't want to fight Sean Porter, Monty Brown, because let me tell you why he don't want to fight him. Because Sean Porter is the ugly version of, or what we would say, the poor man's version of fighting Errol Spence. You know why I say this? Because Sean Porter brings that same kind of aggression that Spence brings it, but Spence brings it from a tactical. Sean Porter brings it from an ineffective. You would think that if he wanted to test himself, he would fight the ultimate gatekeeper in Sean Porter to prove himself. But he knows at the end of that fight, Monty Brown, Terrence Crawford will be so mangled and he will be so beat up that there won't be nothing left of him. And I don't believe he can beat Sean Porter, because Sean Porter is one of those fighters where the triangle theory works, because Sean Porter gives everybody an ugly fight. You ain't going to go in there and fight Sean Porter and think you're going to just box cleanly. Terrence Crawford likes to be comfortable in the ring. And he knows Sean Porter will make life uncomfortable with him. And what do we say, Monty Brown? Pressure does what? It bursts his pipes. So that's why he's staying away from that fight. And Bob Arum knows a bigger point, that if he fights Sean Porter, he will be so exposed from that Spence versus Crawford would no longer be a fight that fight fans want to see, because fight fans will say, well, damn, if he got beat up by Sean Porter, Earl the True Spence made Sean Porter bend the proverbial fucking knee, then why would we want to see that fight? You see what I'm saying? This is where it boils down to. But Spence is special because Spence said on All That Smoke Showtime, and this was addressing Floyd, that, yeah, how would you beat Floyd Mayweather? This is when you know somebody's special, dog. And they could look at another special person in the face and say, I'm not scared of you. He said, oh, I would just break him down physically, man. I know I can't break him down mentally, but I'll break him down physically. What's not special about that? And what is not special about what Sam Watson said? Because Sam Watson said that he gave him a black eye and nobody refuted it. What we saw Floyd say after Sam Watson say that was, he gave me that good work. I never seen Floyd come back out and refute Sam Watson. What we seen Leonard Ellaby say is that sparring match was like a real fight. It was that damn good. Like, it was like watching something we ain't seen before. We've also heard Barry Hunter's account. Man, I ain't gonna lie, boy. Spence gave Floyd that work. He also gave Adrian Broner that work. You're hearing this from all of these people. Everybody's account is matching up. So that's the difference between a legend, and that's the difference between somebody that's not that. So that's why I brought up that point. That's the fundamental difference between Spence, and that's the fundamental between Devin Haney. Devin Haney's look at me. Whereas Spence has everybody else saying, damn, look at that dude. You see what I'm saying? That's all I got to say with that, bro.
Man, beautiful points, bro. Let me tell you. And that's my point about Spence. He knows, and I'm happy you brought up this shit, because his peers vouch for him. He didn't have to say shit. You know what I mean? His peers vouch for him. And let me tell you, Cortez Bay, Mickey Bay, big brother, he said he been around so many spawns of Floyd Mayweather, right? He said he said Floyd sport the best of the best, bro. This motherfucker said, I never seen nothing like Errol Spence. He said that's the best sparring I ever seen Floyd Mayweather get, right? My guy, Hakeem Rockman Jr. Came out and said they knew Errol was gonna be the shit because he was just walking through everything. And then when they seen what he did with Floyd, they said, man, it was crazy. Errol Spence Jr. I get out the ring. You're a good fighter for a bitch. That's what Floyd said to Errol Spence. You're a good fighter for a bitch. Errol turned around. Who you talking to? Who you talking to? We can go to somebody. Stop. They get in the ring. We get the going. What he say he knows? Floyd just got out the ring. He like, so what happened? He said we can go to somebody. Stop and somebody get knocked on their back pockets. Next thing you know, they say what happened? Errol say shit. He just got out the ring. He say shit. So what did you stop? Like I ain't stopped. Shit. He really didn't want to say like I made that motherfucker quit. You feel me? But what he just got out the ring. Shit. You know what I mean? He knew because he was dealing with an animal. He was dealing with an animal. When they say he knocked Adrian Broner out on his feet, right? They know they was dealing with an animal. Well, Adrian Broner told that boy Turnbull Crawford, you can't be Spence. I like Bud. He a good fighter. He can't be Spence. He just good, right? When like I say, Freddie Roach condemned him. I mean, said he was the motherfucking either or one or two him and Turnbull Crawford when he won the scrap from Kell Brook. And a lot of people wanted to say, how you got Errol Spence number one on your pound for pound list? I mean, Freddie Roach had him number one way back when. Now look what he just did all the way up to now. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at Errol, bro, and like I say, people try to come to me and try to say, oh man, Floyd said, you know, Turnbull Crawford was his number one pound for pound fighter. Okay, well, that's his pick. We can't say nothing about that. But if you ask him who gave his ass that work inside that ring, he gonna tell you it was Errol Spence Jr.
That's it.
And he wanted to sign Errol Spence Jr. He wanted to sign Spence. That's why he was willing to relinquish his titles for Sean Porter and Keith Thurman to fight him. You understand what I'm saying? So, man, that's how I know Errol Spence special, bro. Like it's what you say on top of hearing what everybody else saying about him. Not as much as what he's saying about himself. When you listen to people talk about him, look what he did to Ashley Third in the Spawn. Ashley Third, you know what I mean? So, I mean, these are people that was there, bro, watching that Spawn. And when everybody talk about that Spawn, bro, you can tell Errol Spence got the best of Floyd Mayweather. You can tell. You can tell. Boy say I said, okay, this motherfucker got some shit. You know, he called me. You know what I'm saying? You know, he gave me that good work. He gave me that good work. Gave me some good work. You know what I mean? Because he knew that motherfucker was an animal. He knew he was an animal, bro. So when you look at Errol Spence, bro, and Tim Bradley didn't want no parts of him, right? Andre Berto said, I would never in my life get in the ring with this motherfucker. He's just a young hungry lion on a mission, right? So we looking at Errol Spence, just his skill set, man, and that's what I say, bro. They just look at him, they just think he's just brute force, like he just come forward and he just want to kick the shit out of you. Nah, Errol got skills and it's a method to his madness as well. That's why people think they see what they see outside the ring until they get their ass inside the ring. They be like, okay, this motherfucker got the best range of distance. I can barely touch his ass at a time if he don't want to sit there and fight me. His jab is strong as fuck. His body work is just impeccable. He don't stop going to the body. That shit is relentless. It's relentless. You don't know how to get the motherfucker up off your ass, right? If he ain't hitting you in the body, hitting your ass wherever the punch land. He's a dirty fighter. Nope. If that motherfucker land on the hip, on the leg, on the nuts, it land where it's land. But I'm throwing these motherfuckers and I ain't gonna stop throwing. You feel me? So when he in that ring, he just ferocious, bro. He just ferocious. He don't stop. You feel me? And that's why he's just cool, laid back, and calm. Like you say, I don't know about no tricks, but I know I can fight my ass off. Y'all can have all that tricky shit because that shit ain't gonna work. You feel me? And I want to piggyback off that Sean Porter shit because, like you're saying, Porter will give Turnbull Crawford the toughest fight of his life to this day, bro. And you know what Turnbull Crawford because he admitted it. He said at the podium, that's just gonna be a tough fight, man. It's gonna be a tough fight. While all these clowns running around talking about, oh, Porter go knock out. Bud is gonna knock out Porter. Put your money up on it. Show me that you believe that shit. Put the money. Show me that you believe that Turnbull Crawford is going to knock out Sean Porter. Because I can't see that shit in no shape, form, or fashion, bro. And I'm with you on that. He knows. I think if he don't box and try to keep Porter at the end of his jab, Porter can win that fight, bro. He can win that fight, and that's how I feel because Bud is not a good inside fighter. He's not a good inside fighter, bro. And that's Errol Spence and Sean Porter. That's they playground. You know what I'm saying? In the inside, bro. That'll stay playground. So if you let Sean Porter get in the inside, make it rough and tough on your ass, And once he get the stomping on your ass and frame you, because they don't know when he coming in. That's why he be out jabbing the jabbers, right?
Yep.
When you look at that situation, and Porter said it himself, you better know what you want to do against me, because I'm not gonna give you time to think. I'm not gonna give you time to try to fight orthodox, then switch southpaw on, because I'm gonna be on your ass. So in the midst of switching, I'm gonna be right there on your ass. So it's a hell of a fight for him. If you take Sean Porter, we'll see what he can do with him. But with Errol Spence, man, the way the Purrs talked about him coming out the Olympics, bro. How they all said who y'all see gonna be a world champion first out of everybody. Now everybody kept saying Spence, 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 Spence. The Spawn, like, and he don't even talk about it. People talk about it. He ain't saying put out the Spawn to me and Floyd and see what happened. He ain't saying that shit because he earned his. He earned his bones already. He know he earned it, bro. You feel me? That's why I got no problem with saying Errol Spence will beat Canelo Alvarez. I got no problem with saying that, bro, and I mean that shit. They just kicked me out the little group over there because I put my little shit in there saying Earl would beat him. It's a full because I was going battling with all them motherfuckers. They kicked me out the little group that just to set me back. But man, Earl is a fucking animal, bro. He's a different breed, a special fucking fighter, bro. And he
but you know why they kick you out, Money? Because you told the truth.
Hell yeah.
The truth can't be sugar-coated, man. And when you tell the truth, your brothers will kick you out, but eventually when the truth always have his day, because it hurts, but he will always have his day, they will come back. They always will come back, man. That's just my truth on it. That's what I believe. And people feel like he knows the sport is taking on a big machine, blah, blah, blah. It's not even all about that, man. To be honest with you, my wave of thinking and my wave of mind is not thinking like that, Money. It's more so just telling the truth. Well, I'm telling the truth on what I see. And if it means that I'm at odds with a so-called big machine, then so fucking be it, man. Because I'm going to tell the truth. That's just the way it's going to be. I'm going to tell the truth. Whatever I see in front of me, I'm going to tell the truth. And that's why I respect you, because you tell the damn truth.
That's why I rock with you as well, because it don't matter what I think or what nobody else think. You go speak your truth, and I respect you, bro. And it ain't going to never make me stop fucking with you or make me come over here and deal with you or nothing like that. Because you, like, I really rock with you, bro. You're a brother of mine, and I rock with you, bro. Whether we agree or disagree, we go agree on a lot, we go disagree on things. You feel me? But it ain't gonna never make me look at he knows no different, or you know what? I'm not going over there fucking what he knows. He said, "Nah, man, I'm right here. I'm gonna be right here, and we go kick this shit, and we go talk it, and that's what it's about. We're not supposed to agree on every goddamn thing, but you know, we go stand on our square on what we believe in, though.
And let's not be betas about it. You know what I'm saying? If we don't agree, we don't agree. I mean, shit, we didn't agree on the Wilder situation, but I moved on. That's it. Now we on the next topic. We on Spence. But see, I'm glad you said that, because I had two other things that I wanted to segue on Spence, because going back to that, Spence made Mayweather. I'm glad you said that, because I was arguing this with fellow true alphas, man, in the past. Spence made Mayweather bend the proverbial fucking knee. People don't understand it. This, what Spence did to Mayweather is what Kobe did to Jordan. If you remember, and I know you remember this, Mighty Brown, Jordan came back 2 years in the Washington Wizards. And what did Kobe do? He dropped 55.5 on his ass and told him, take that shit to retirement. What Spence did to Mayweather was what Kobe did to Jordan in that game. Kobe wanted to send a message to Jordan. This is my fucking league now. I'm the Errol basketball player now. You're done. Get out of here. That's what Spence did to Mayweather. He had to send a message. This is my time now. You are done. See, this is what people don't understand with Errol fighters. Errol fighters, even if it means they have to make the other Errol fighter bend the fucking knee, they will do that, because it's their era now. That's why Richard Schaefer said so confidently, and he's never retracted, we left the Mayweather era and we ushered into the Spence era, man. Why do you think I put my platform behind Spence? Because I already knew when that sparring happened, I already knew at that point, I was already putting my platform behind gold, because I knew at that point I was doing something that made all the sense in the world. And it made sense because it just was something that I had to gravitate towards, because I was like, damn, this motherfucker made Floyd bend the proverbial fucking knee. Oh, heck no. Ain't nobody seeing this dude in the boxing ring. Nobody. I don't care if it's Canelo. I don't care if it's Mikey Garcia. I don't care. Why do you think Floyd was giving Spence verbal cues? He was giving him verbal cues in the Mikey Garcia fight. People forget that. You remember, you and I talked about this, Monnie. Floyd, the reason why Spence didn't knock out Mikey, because you know what Floyd told him? You already boxing him, man. You already beating the shit out of him. Just coast. Floyd was saying that in between rounds. Coast. And because Spence respect Floyd so much, and he wanted to be what Floyd was, because this is the thing, and people don't understand this, and I'm going to say this is a great motivational speaker that says it. When you emulate somebody that is where they're at in terms of being the greatest of all time, you will become like that. You will become exactly what that person is because you emulated that. That's what Kobe Bryant did with Michael Jordan. He emulated that. And look at Kobe. He's goated. This is what Errol Spence did. He emulated Floyd in terms of what Floyd meant to boxing. Not in terms of ability, but in terms of what Floyd meant to boxing. And look at him now. He's goated because of that. This is what people don't understand. This is what people don't get. And see, Floyd, when he does that, Jordan does this, used to do this with Kobe all the time. When you see this passive-aggressive stuff that Mayweather enforces, you're off. It's called passive-aggressive. A lot of people, it gets behind their heads. When you see Floyd undermine Spence in public, it's not that he's doing that because he hates Spence. Floyd is doing that because he want to keep pushing him. It's like Jordan. Jordan used to do that. Jordan would tell Kobe, well, you can't tie my shoelaces. Well, you're not on my level. It's because he knows Kobe is that guy, but he wants to keep saying those little things to keep motivating him. That's what Mayweather's doing with Spence when he says, oh, I select Terrence Bull Crawford. I don't believe Floyd believes that in the heart of his hearts, Money Brown. I don't believe that because he had a sparring with Spence. I believe he did that as a reverse psychology because Floyd is a master of reverse psychology to make Spence be pushed. That's why if you notice, Spence came out the next week and was like, I'll break down Floyd physically. Because Floyd probably thought it was just going to be a motivation. No, Spence attacked Floyd directly. He said, nah, if I fight Floyd, I'll break him down physically. That's the type of shit that Kobe used to do with Jordan. When Jordan would say something, Kobe would turn around and say, but he got his moves from Elgin Baylor and them too. Mm-hmm. You cannot psych out an era-filled person because they are just like you. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. I like that you said that about Spence too, because even in that interview, right? And I said, because Kesco come to me, I mean, all you gotta do is check my Instagram. And I said I give Spence a chance to beat Mayweather, right? And I said, oh yeah, because Spence go to the body, right? Floyd body never moves. You feel me? And they look at me, oh man, you tripping. Every motherfucker called me crazy. I'm like, what makes y'all think that Errol, and you know, if they want to say he knows, they go all the way back. Man, prime for prime. I say, nah, bro, I'm not talking about no fucking prime for prime, because they won't fight each other prime for prime. I'm talking about the Mayweather right now. I'm being realistic about this shit.
Yep.
The Mayweather that was the Money Mayweather that was in that ring that spoiled Errol Spence. If he was to get in the ring and fight Errol Spence has a chance to win that goddamn fight. You feel me? They want to, man, if it's prime, I'm not going back on no fantasy shit or none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how good Errol Spence is, bro. That's how good he is, bro. And in that fight, like that's just show you how mature he is when he say you ain't gonna beat him mentally. You're not. He said just like Sean Porter, you're not gonna beat him mentally. You got to beat him physically. That's why exactly. That's why he walks to Sean Porter like that and broke his ass because he knew mentally he's not gonna stop. You're not gonna make somebody quit. You ain't gonna make Sean Porter quit. You ain't gonna make Floyd Mayweather quit. The thing is to go in that motherfucker and make them fight and be physical. Okay, we're gonna make this shit a physical fight and let's see who got the most dog in them. You understand me? And I think Floyd got, I think Errol got more dog than Floyd right now. When you put them two in the ring with each other, Errol Spence, he big, he get to that body. That jab is one of the best jabs in fucking boxing, right? And that body work is gonna sit your ass down. I don't care how good you think you is. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I ain't saying it's gonna be easy at all. Errol is a fucking dog, bro. He is a dog. That southpaw stance give a lot of motherfuckers trouble. A lot of people trouble. You feel me? So when we sit up here and we look at Errol Spence, bro, a lot of people, they go hate on him. He knows they go call us fanboys. They go call us this. They go call us that. Man, do your research. That's all I'm doing. Research. Everything we sit up here is all facts. It was not a lie. You know what I mean? All facts. So it comes down to Spence, bro, just being on his shit because it's all about Spence. It ain't about nobody else. It's all about him. The only person that can beat him is himself, bro. As long as he's on his shit, keep his skills sharp, stay focused, you know what I mean? Stay around, fight weight like he said he's doing now, and that's exactly what he's doing, right? This how I know he on this shit because he calling other fighters and making them stand on their shit, bro. Stand in the gym. Why do you think Tank stand in the gym? Because he said, I call Tank and I'm telling them to stay on their shit. And they listen to Earl. They listen to Earl, bro. Earl is a the top dog of that camp, bro. They listen to him, bro. What he say? Got the Charlos listening to him. You know how arrogant them motherfuckers is. Charlos listen to him, bro. Jamaican talk about Errol Spence like that for no reason. The hardest person I ever been hit by was Errol Spence. The best work I ever got was with Errol Spence. He said, I'm the WBC champ. Errol Spence ain't even won a title yet. And I'm trying to get like this motherfucker. He killing the gym. He's a gym killer. He's a gym killer. This one, Jamel Charlo was already WBC world champion. Right? Earl didn't even have a title yet. And he like, I'm trying to get like him. So Earl, like, he shows you that he got that work ethic, bro. And that's what they think that he don't got. They think, oh, because he do this, he do that, he don't got that work ethic. The dude got a crazy work ethic, bro. Crazy. You feel me? And it matches Floyd Mayweather work ethic, bro. I'm gonna keep it real. It matches his work ethic, bro, because Earl Spence going to the gym, he can kill that shit. And like my brother Keon always say, bro, when Earl do his workouts, he go full throttle. There's no breaks in between. There's no. I paid attention to that. Like when you hit the punching bag, if it's 3 to 4 or 5 minutes on the punching bag, it's 3 to 4 or 5 minutes straight. No slowing down, no nothing. When you're on the pads, you're going down, no breaks, no slowing down, no nothing. You're going 100% in your count like you're doing in the ring. And that's what makes certain fighters special, bro. That's what makes certain fighters special, bro. And man, he knows I praise, bro. We get this Turnsborough Crawford fight. I praise that we do. So we can shut a lot of these motherfuckers up. And I want to hear a lot of excuses. Oh, he waited till he was old. Oh, why he ain't fight him then? Oh, why he ain't do that? I don't care what excuses you motherfuckers bring up. When Earl beat that man, when he beat that man, boy, I'm gonna tear their ass up, bro. I'm gonna turn, bro.
Why you think Earl sparred Floyd? Earl did something that I would do in a situation, bro. That's why I was like, this guy, man, he gets it. Earl said, all I got to do to show that I'm the greatest is I just have to beat up the greatest. That's why he sparred Floyd. He didn't spar just Floyd because he wanted to learn and collect data. He sparred Floyd because he knew if I got that work, nobody else in the ring would be able to see. And I wanted to prove an emphatic point. Just like Kobe Bryant did with Michael Jordan, man, in that Washington Wizards. Kobe knew if I have that on my thing where I do Michael Jordan's ass up, can't nobody see me on the basketball court. And then go look at the All-Star break. Jordan's iconic fadeaway. Nobody blocks Jordan's fadeaway. He did the fadeaway on Kobe. I want y'all to go back and look at the All-Star game. Kobe blocks Jordan's signature fadeaway. This is what I try to tell people. You know when you're dealing with an error-filled person just like you in a translucent image because they ain't afraid of you, dog. They can look at you dead in the face and say, it's my time now. When you look at Spence and you look at Mayweather, it's the young line and the old line. You guys know in the Lion Pride, and Monnie Brown knows this very well because I'm sure he studies Animal Kingdom. The old line at some point, they're going to get to the end of their reign where that young line that is usually their son in that crop, if they don't get rid of them or they don't kick them out while they're young, if they allow him to become a full age, that young line is going to take his dad's pride away from him.
Yeah, and all the women.
Go ahead, my bad.
I said all the women with it, but go ahead.
And there you go. All of the women, all of the kids, all of that's going to be theirs. You know why? Because that young lion has to show that it's my time. Your time is done and over with. You're the old farce. I'm the young crop now. I got to prove an emphatic point. And that's what the young line is doing with the old line. That's what Earl Spence did with Floyd. And can't nobody tell me otherwise. Earl the True Spence will beat up Money May. That I can bet that with anybody. Yeah. Now, if we're talking Pretty Boy Floyd and we're talking about Floyd and that's a super chess match. I think it's a stalemate. But Money Mayweather, because I had a super chess match debate about this, and the equalizer that I used was the Miguel Cotto fight. I said, is Spence not better than Miguel Cotto? And once I made that point, there was a Cassidy freeway choking moment. Because at that point, it forced the person to think, well, if you take Miguel Cotto out and you put Earl Spence there, and Miguel Cotto was touching up Floyd, what do you think Spence going to do? So Money May would succumb to Spence. He would succumb to it. But any other version of Floyd Mayweather, Yeah, it's a super chess match. It's a stalemate. Floyd doesn't lose, but Spence don't lose. But if we talking about Money Mayweather, now you're talking about losing step. Because for Floyd to be able to keep Spence off him, Floyd got to be all in his faculties athletically to stay on his toes. That's Pretty Boy Floyd. Pretty Boy Floyd can stay on his toes all the time. But Money May, there ain't no staying on the toes all the time. There's slippage there. And if Marcos Maidana's getting in, Miguel Cotto's getting in, man, Spence will do even worse than that. Way worse. And see, that's what people got to understand. That's just like Kobe. You take Kobe and you take Jordan, Washington Wizards. Kobe he thrashes the Washington Wizards version of Jordan. But any other version of Jordan, it's a stalemate. That's just how people got to see it. Now, we're going to talk about this next part of it because we got to segue into it. Jaron Boots Ennis, man. There's a lot of bootlickers out here, Monty Brown. You know we had to talk about this.
Yeah.
They done left. They left Mikey Garcia because Errol the True Spence regressed Mikey Garcia into an Uber, a Lyft, and a whole lot. Hey, taxi, Tijuana cab driver fighter. So they jumped from that to guess who they jumped to? The Chihuahua parking behind the damn fence. Damn right. And then once they realized that Terrence Crawford was smoking beers, guess who they jumped to now? Now they jump into Boots. See, that's why I call them bootlickers. You know me, I'm always going to give that name that's going to stick. These folks are bootlickers because they going after a kid. Now, let's look at the common opponent. Because I always like to look at common opponents that Spence fought. Spence fought Kell Brook. Mangled him, made him bend the proverbial fucking knee and kiss the ring while he was at it. And we're talking about a 2016 Kell Brook. A Kell Brook that all other welterweights was ducking, didn't want no free smoke with. Spence made him bend the proverbial fucking knee. Made him bend the knee up.
In his hometown.
Exactly. In his hometown.
His fans.
In UK. Let's not get it twisted. You're right. And then let's look at Terrence Crawford and nosedive versus Kell Brook. What happened there? He hits Kell Brook on the shoulder, and then all of a sudden it's a knockout. It's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, And then let's look at Jaron Boots Ennis. Errol Spence was being clowned by Chris Van Heeteren. If y'all go back and look at that fight, I want y'all to go back and watch the fight. Me and Mike Brown, we know the fight in the like the back of our heads because we just know anything that do with Spence. I'm talking about people that need to go back and watch it. Chris Van Heeteren was a South African guy that was being propped up. He was 23-1 at the time when he fought Spence, and this guy was talking trash. Every round, Spence was systematically breaking his ass down. Ever since the Spence fight, Chris Van Heeteren hasn't returned back to that form. He's been aged 30 plus years. And when I say age 30 plus years, I'm talking about age 30 plus years in the boxing ring. Jaron Boots Ennis should have demolished this guy. And see, what we know, Monty Brown, is one thing. One thing is for certain and two things are for true. Let me say it again. One thing is for certain and two things are for true. And one thing that was certain is this. There's two types of fighters that get headbutts. The two types of fighters that get headbutt are those that, like a Spence or Mayweather, they get it because the fighter's just trying to be dirty because they just beating the snot out of them, like Spence got with Danny Garcia or Mayweather got with Marcos Maidana. And two things are for certain. There's other fighters that when you see them get headbutted, it's because they have awkward foot movement, like Andre Berto. That's why Jaron Boots Ennis got headbutted in the Chris Van Heeteren fight. It wasn't because he has skills to pay the bills. It's because he has awkward footwork. What kind of demolishing did we see in the Chris Van Heeteren fight? Are they going to sit here and say that he is a coronation? He is the next Bud Crawford, man. He's the next smoking mirrors because they already could see after the Mean Machine fight, we can't get behind Terrence Crawford. So now we got to get behind bootlicking. Now we got to get behind Boots and hence bootlickers, man. Jaron Boots Ennis ain't done nothing. He still got Gary Antoine Russell problems. Do people not remember that Gary Antoine Russell, Andre Ward was there at the end of the fight when he stood there in the Olympic trials and said, Gary Antoine Russell Jr. beat you up. He embarrassed him in that fight. He still got those problems to deal with. He still got Virgil Ortiz problems to deal with. But yet he's ready for the likes of a Errol the True Spence, a tactical aggression, technical punching placement, and body snatching work, the levying onslaught of the punishment style. Don't get me started. What you got to say on that, bro?
I like Jaron Boots Ennis. I don't know about all the tricks and shit like that, but I know I can fight my ass off. You feel me? That's what Earl had to tell that boy. You feel me? They come to him. You got a fighter in Jaron Boots Ennis. I had to get on his ass, right? Because he came out. I've been getting on his ass for a while, and I like Boots. Don't get this shit twisted or none of that shit. I think the kid got a bright fucking future. You feel me? He's skillful as fuck. I give him that. But who the fuck has he beat? Right? And not only that, he knows him and Spence got the almost similar records, right? They almost similar records. And people go, well, he's young and look how many fights he got. Okay, well, y'all want to say this, y'all want to say that. And I do like the Sergey Dipper in this fight. I hope he get that fight because I think that's a good step up fight for him, right? But when we're looking at Boots, right, and we say they got the same similar records, but guess what? One is a unified champion. One been on pay-per-view 3 times in a row. One on his 4th pay-per-view. One is talked about as arguably the #1 pound-for-pound fighter, right? One is the hottest in the game. The hottest in the game. You feel me? But when you look at the situation with Boots and Errol Spence, and that's what I'm happy you said that about the lines in the prior land, because I say Boots young. He see Tank getting this shit off. Tank making this money, he young. Devin Haney making this money, he young. Ted Primo making money, he young. Shakur Stevens being world champions. So when he see all them dudes, he say, you know what? I think I'm skillful than all them motherfuckers. I'm better than all them. So why isn't I making this type of money and getting these title shots like this? Because you're in a different jungle than they are. The lines you around are still in their prime. These ain't lines going out the door. They still in their prime. These ain't baby cubs fighting each other, right? These motherfuckers still running their prime lands. You feel me? So if you think you'll come and come into their prime lands and march them off they shit, you know, while they still in their prime, it's not gonna happen, child. It's not gonna happen. You feel me? It's not gonna happen, right? So when we look at Errol Spence, man, that's the top. He's the top gunner, and everybody want him. You know, heaviest the head that wears the crown. We all knows that, right? And everybody want him. So you can only fight one person at a time. When we look at Jaron Boots Ennis, you doing what you're doing to fighters that you're supposed to do it too. Right? Those are fighters you're supposed to knock the fuck out. You're supposed to be able to style on them, do the cha-cha dance and spin around, hit a split, jump back up, punch him in the shit and knock him out. You're supposed to do all that shit against them fighters. But what happens when you going up to when you fighting the fighters that you ain't faster than, that you ain't stronger than, that you ain't smarter than? What kind of adjustments do you make then? That's what it's gonna come down to. So I just want to see him get in those kind of fights. You know, the Sergey Deperniks, to the Jose Lopez's and the Thomas Delorme's. Let's see you get to those. See you get to those dudes first, right? Because I do think that's a good ass setup for him, working his way up to the big dogs. You feel me? And with Virgil Ortiz, I think Maurice Hooker is a good fight for him, which I think Bruce taking on a tougher opponent than Sergey, and I like Maurice. But let's see you work your way up the prime. I mean, up the list the right way, being only 22, 23 years of age, however you old you is, before they try to throw you on with Earl Spence and derail your whole motherfucking career. Because that's what's gonna happen. That train gonna get knocked clean off the goddamn tracks, right? Get knocked off the tracks, and hopefully get caught where it's just hanging, and that motherfucker don't fall flat and explode. You feel me? Because anybody that fight Earl Spence, right, they're not the same, right? It don't matter what y'all say, they're not the same. And we know when Earl Spence beat you, what it does for his career. You go on that list, and a lot of people go say, "Oh man, you just being a fan of all this," but it elevates Earl Spence to another higher level, bro. To another higher level because the superstardom only growing and growing and growing. So if Jaron Boots Ennis was to jump his ass in that ring and get his ass knocked out, Earl Spence go tear your ass down, and you gonna help that superstardom grow even more, right? Or you climb your way back up to the top. So I like Boots, man. Like I say, I just don't want to see the kid career get derailed right now. You could be a world champion, but after Earl Spence become undisputed and relinquish those titles and go to 154, bro, because you're not beating no Earl Spence. You're not beating him.
Man, let me tell you something. This is why I use the terminology in this from the good book. Ravening wolves, man. They like the Pharisees. They hypocrites, dog. Ravening wolves. Bud Tards, i.e. Bud Man fans, i.e. bootlickers, man. Intermingling themselves and missing themselves in sheep's clothing. Fake as fuck Earl Spence fans. Because they say one thing and then their actions do another. Let me say it again. They say one thing, but their actions do another. I don't care if you have a position where you say that you like all of these guys, but keep that same energy all across the board. Monty Brown been keeping that energy all across the board. He likes Boots. He likes Spence. I actually like Boots, contrary to what people say, but I'm not going to be so much on liking Boots and giving Boots credit to where I'm going to say he better than Spence when I know Spence been doing heavyweight lifting. Are you fucking kidding me? There's levels to this shit, dog. Meek Mill said there's gears. There's levels, man. I'm not gonna sit here and see with the heavyweight lifting that Spence did and compare that with Boots. If Boots wanted to impress me, he should have demolished Chris Van Heelen. That fight shouldn't even been ended the way it did. He should have went in there and beat the snot out of Chris Van Heelen and aged him another 30 years on top of the 30 years that Spence did. Then I would have said, okay, man, hold the fuck up. Boots is ready. That's what I would have said. You know, I would have dropped my video with the, yeah, you ready. But I didn't see that. What I saw was bad footwork, and bad footwork a lot of times makes you succumb to headbutts. I've talked about this. Monnie Brown, you talked about this. And the guy that I always say is the science in boxing, Would Stay Real TV, talk about this. We've all talked about this in our videos where we talk about guys having bad footwork and how bad footwork makes you succumb to headbutts. Andre Berto's a perfect example of that. Why do you think Andre Berto got headbutted by Sean Porter? It's because he got bad footwork. Spence fought Sean Porter, and Spence didn't get no headbutts from Sean Porter. You know what he got from Sean Porter? He was getting low blows because Spence was smart enough to know how to box on his toes enough to where he could avoid those big-ass headbutts coming in. See, that's the difference between fighters that know how to box on their toes, that got pedigree, versus fighters that are just awkward, man. They just step on their toes. Timothy Knothead, Bullethead Bradley was like that too. That's why he got concussed by Ruslan Provodnikov. It's because he had bad footwork. We saw this in the Manny Pacquiao fight. He had bad footwork. Some fighters just have bad footwork, and it causes them to get demolished in the boxing ring. I'm actually glad that Timothy Knothead or Bullethead Bradley retired the time that he did, because if he would have stayed any longer, he would have suffered CTE. That's just facts. When we look at Jaron Boots Ennis, these bootlickers, stop propping up somebody when they're not at the levels that they're at. Gary Antoine Russell, and Monnie Brown, you could co-sign this with me. He been calling out Jaron Boots Ennis, and Jaron Boots Ennis been ducking him. He been calling him out. He been wanting his free smoke back because he told everybody he whooped his ass, and he want to re-whoop his ass again. What I'm noticing is why is people not talking about Jaron Boots Ennis ducking Gary Antoine Russell? So y'all got to start calling a spade here, man. It's something about these Russell brothers, the Russell family. People tend to duck these guys, man. They need more respect out here in these boxing streets than what they deserve, man. Jaron Boots Ennis needs to fight Gary Antoine Russell Jr., and they need to squabble it out. Let me tell you something. I'm going to say this, Monnie Brown, and then I'm going to throw it right back to you. The UK does something that is better than the US in one aspect. We saw this when we saw this in the heavyweight fight when, damn, their names is off the top of my head, but it just slipped. Daniel Dubois and what was the other cat's name? His name is on the tip of my tongue.
Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce. We saw this in the heavyweights. UK always get it right. They always are not afraid to take their young crop, Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois, and throw them in the lion's den and say, y'all squabble it out. That's the one thing UK has over us. You know what we do? We say, well, these fighters, they need to build themselves up before they can have a super fight. No, they need to fight each other so that we know where they're at. It's okay. Everybody ain't gonna be no damn Floyd. Everybody ain't gonna walk away. Everybody ain't gonna have no O throughout their boxing career. Everybody not special like that. Everybody not special like a Spence. People are gonna have these fights in between to build themselves up. And Spence, if you look at it, he did do those fights. He fought Lamont Peterson. He had all of these types of fights. Floyd, the same thing. He fought Genaro Hernandez. People don't understand the level of savvy veteran that Genaro Hernandez was. Floyd had a lot to deal with. And the fact that he won the belt the way that he did, let's not start opening up the boxing dictionary, because if we start doing this, Monnie Brown, a lot of shit we're going to say will go over people's head. But these guys took on these challenges that allowed them to get where they're at, right? Yeah. But with Boots in them, we don't see that. What we seeing in this new generation is these fighters are capping, man. I get it, Jaron Boots Ennis. You want to put yourself out there. But when you put yourself out there, when you have these performances, dominate in these performances. It's one thing to talk. It's another thing to go out there and show it. You had your opportunity, Chris Van Heelen. You blow him out the water, man. You obliterate him. And then that's going to make somebody like a Hinosa Sport impressed. That's going to make somebody like Monnie Brown impressed. But when we sit here and watch you have bad footwork and get headbutt, And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, well, damn, if you take Chris Van Heaton out, you put Spence in there, does this kid even survive? Does he even have a boxing career after that? No, he don't. So we got to call a spade here. We got to keep it real. We got to keep it a buck, man. And that's all I got to say with that. What you got to say, man?
Man, I said, look, I wish I recorded this because I was streaming the fight. He knows. I said, he was rushing, like Boots was in there rushing, right? I say, man, you better slow down for y'all end up, you're going to end up getting a motherfucking cut over your motherfucking head. But see, I was saying for us, Boots was going to get the cut, but it ended up giving Verdine the damn cut. You feel me? But I knew her headbutt was okay. Hold on.
Well, see, while Monnie's making that point, he's saying what he's saying. He's telling the truth. He was rushing in the fight. He was trying to impress people so much. That's what Boots was trying to do. He was trying to impress people so much. I watched round by round. That's what I saw. A kid that was rushing. He was too busy looking for electrifying knockout that guess what ended up happening? He got a headbutt, man. And it's kind of like basketball. Boxing and basketball, there's some parts of their sport that relate with one another. In basketball, you know how they say when you're chasing greatness personification, you can't chase the game. You got to let it come to you. It's the same principle in boxing. You can't chase the square circle. You got to let the square circle come to you, man. Meaning you got to let the fundamentals come to you. You got to let the technique come to you. And when you see situational moments for you to strike, then you strike. That's not what Jaron Boots Ennis was doing. Jaron Boots Ennis was too busy out there trying to rush. And then that's what ended up causing the situation to happen the way it did. So it is what it is. Chris Van Heaton did not fight clean. He also fought dirty. But my thing is this, you fighting against a veteran. And you fighting against a savvy, gritty veteran that has things about him where he kind of roughhouse you. So this is why, to me, that was a step up to where it was going to show me where Boots was at. Was he going to pay attention and show us that he has skills to outwit the roughhousing? He didn't show me that, man. That's why now I need to see Sergey Lipinets or I need to see a Josecito Lopez. Actually, I preferably want Josecito Lopez. Let me tell you why I would stay real TV. I'm going to tell you why, Monnie, the big step up, because of what Josecito Lopez did to Keith Thurman. I want to see if Jaron Boots Ennis, because Josecito Lopez knows how to place a body shot. If he don't know how to do nothing else, that's what he want to know. I want to see Jaron Boots Ennis take a body shot, and I want to see how he handles it. That's what I want to see. Because I've seen Spence take body shots, and I've seen how he's handled it. A fighter will always let you know how they respond when they take a certain shot a certain way, how they're able to overcome that. We saw that with Mayweather and Shane Mosley. That shot that Mayweather took from Shane Mosley, that shot could have mentally took away so many other people. So many other people would have checked out. The fact that Floyd was able to use the tactics that he was able to use to regather his faculties, because he was kind of out of it. Let's be honest. His legs was wobbly. He was out of it. But he used every other tactic to ensure that he got that breather so he could regain his faculty. And what happened? Shane Mosley was eating right-hand leads the rest of the damn fight because he regained himself. We seen this with Andre Ward. Andre Ward got dropped by Sergey Kovalev. And what happened the second half of the fight? He regained his faculties, man. Some fighters, they just have that intestinal fortitude to regain their faculty. This is what I want to see from Jaron Boots Ennis. I want to see him in that level of fire, and I want to see how he comes out of it. And the Chris Van Heaton, when he was in that fire with the headbutt, he failed. So now I need him to be in another test where he can show me that he can pass. And then once I see that, then I could start really saying, okay, he's for real. If you remember, Monnie Brown, if you remember with Stay Real TV, we said our criticisms of Jaron Boots Ennis is he's still too raw. Well, guess what? He's still too damn raw. He ain't proved nothing yet, and he ain't in contender in my book. He's still prospect. So he's going to have one of these quality wins. He's going to have to go in there and beat these guys up decisively, like a Sergey Lipinets or a Josecito Lopez. And then I'm going to say something. See, when I saw Contender and I saw the real Marlowe covering that, I was agreeing with them. That right there is a hell of a step-up fight, the Sergey Lipinets of the world. But can he go in there and beat a guy like that to fight decisively? See, that's questions to be answered. And if he could do that, then we could start really saying, okay, this kid is for real. But for right now, There's a bunch of question marks looming. And that's why it went back to that point what I was talking about with the UK. Why can't he fight the Virgil Ortiz's or the Gary Antoine Russells of the world?
Okay.
Because those are quality fights against young fighters that could really expose him. That's my point on that.
Yeah, I had to take a phone call. My bad, bro. Yeah, man. What I was saying about the headbutt, right? And I was saying he was rushing, bro. And I said that shit like I knew a headbutt was coming. You know, I knew it. I'm like a headbutt could happen. And as soon as I said it, bro, everybody in the that was in the live, they're like, God damn, you called it, bro. You called. I said, I told you, he just out there rushing. You gotta learn how to be a little bit more patient. You know what I mean? He's rushing to take her as his prey, and I don't knock him, but he got to stop. You know, he got to slow down sometimes. That's the thing about Boots. He be trying to rush everything too, bro. He be trying to rush that shit. And sometimes, you know, you go out there, you overthink certain things when all you got to do is just let it come to you. You know what I mean? All you got to do is just let it come to him, bro. But he's a hell of a fighter, though. I ain't going to take that away from him. But, you know, he still got things to learn himself. Because I just think people fall in love with, oh, they see the flash, they see the fast hands, they see this, you know, looking like a bigger version of Adrian Bronner, right? So, and they liking that shit, but he's supposed to do that to the people he fighting. You know what I mean? He fighting. So it's gonna come down to him, man. Moving the right way, champ. Moving the right way.
And then what's your last take on this, man? Because, you know, I have to talk about this with Spence and Crawford. Salute to you, Thomas Moreland. Spence is not budging off of, I don't know why people are forcing Spence mentally to say that he needs to take 50-50 with Bud. Spence did all the heavyweight lifting, man. You're not going to get Spence to take 50-50 against Bud, who can't sell a cookout, let alone a chicken dinner. It's going to be 60-40, man. And if that doesn't happen, if fight fans don't get behind that and say, Bud, take 40, or this shit ain't going to happen, this fight ain't going to happen, man. Somebody's always going to be the A side and somebody's always going to be the B side. This has always been boxing, man. Anybody that thinks boxing is just pugilism, they don't know what the fuck they talking about. Boxing is economics, politics, and pugilism. It's a three-pronged monster, man. There's always got to be financials. They got to be ironed out before big fights happen. And people keep saying, but in the old school fights, they made fights happen. But didn't they iron out the financials before they made the fight happen? Didn't Sugar Ray Leonard always get his A side? Come on, man. What y'all talking about? They always made sure the money was good before these guys actually stepped into the ring and made it happen. Same thing with Muhammad Ali. Same thing with going back to Sugar Ray Robinson days. Monies were always ironed out, and you knew who was always the A side and who was always the B side. So why are the rules different for Spence, man? Why are y'all forcing Spence's hand to try to tell him Spence ain't gonna listen to y'all? And if y'all forcing that fight ain't never gonna happen. If you want Spence versus Crawford to happen, Crawford needs to bend the fucking knee, accept his 40%, let Spence get his 60%, and then the fight is gonna happen. This is supposed to be like Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. Absence that, the fight is never gonna happen, man. And that's all I gotta say with that, bro.
Man, I just got through arguing with this cat Jalik over this same situation, bro. They listen. They can talk all this shit. Oh, Errol Spence gonna get knocked out by Bud. Bud gonna do this. Bud gonna do that. This gonna happen. I said, okay, you can have all that. That's your opinion on that. I give you that. But when it comes down to this business, right? Because they keep, he's trying to age him out till he turn a certain age. How's he trying to age him out when he offered a man 60-40? Right? He offered a man 60-40. We know for a fact Bob Earn ain't sending no offers over, right? And we know Spence is the A side, hands down, like 630. That's something they can't deny, right? So then they want to say, oh, well, Bud is the pound for pound champion, and he a 3-division world champion. He was undisputed, all that shit. But that shit don't put asses in the seats. Because Bud, he was all those things when he fought Amir Khan, right? He was undisputed. He was 3-division. He was a champion. When he fought Amir Khan, the pay-per-view numbers didn't reflect none of that shit that y'all talking about. Right. None of it, right? So now when we look at this situation, and Bud don't want to budge off 50-50, but y'all talking about he want to fight Spence so bad. Oh, he want the fight. Bud want the fight. Errol don't want the fight. Well, guess what? Errol said 60-40, even if it's a verbal agreement. Facts. He said 60-40, right? So if y'all want to say, he capping, he don't mean that, well, tell Bud to call his bluff. Tell Bud to get on national camera, go on one of his podiums after one of the fights and say, Errol Spence, I accept 60-40, let's get it on.
There you go.
Get it on. And guess what? All eyes turn to Errol Spence after that. We offer Bud players, then we look at Spence and say, okay, Spence, He accepted 60-40. What's up now, bro? He said he go accept it, right? So now when we look at this dude, man, and they agree. Oh, Errol Spence is the A side. Oh yeah, Errol Spence got the better resume. Oh, Errol Spence bring in the most money. So if he do all that, then shouldn't he earn the higher percentage of the money? Well, y'all can't tell Bud what to take. Y'all can't tell him to accept this. Oh, how can y'all say all this shit, but y'all never? And I asked them this. I be like, what's so hard for y'all to tell Terrence Bud Crawford to accept the 40%? What's so hard about it? Why is it so hard for y'all to fix y'all mouth and say, Bud, accept the 40%? And then people try to say, oh, I don't pocket watch. I'm not going to tell these fighters what to take. People that watch pockets, I don't need to worry about nobody else's money. That's not cool. Why y'all worrying about other people's money? I'm like, what the fuck you mean worrying about other people's money? This is the fight game. This is what fell in our lap. We didn't just act like we just went digging for this shit. It fell in our laps, right? So we looked at the situation. And then I say this, he knows, because they say, well, he got more accolades. He's the pound for pound champ. I said, okay, well, guess what? Yep. When he fought Julius Ndongo, Ndongo was a unified champion, just like Bud was a unified champion. Why didn't Julius Ndongo get 50% against Terrence Bud Crawford?
Exactly.
Who got the most money? Terrence Bud Crawford got the most money. Why? Because he was the bigger name and he put more asses in the seats.
Exactly.
So now when the table's turning, we're looking at Errol Spence. Oh, he gave Sean Porter 50-50, but guess what? He got more than the motherfucking pay-per-view. Oh, Mikey Garcia, he got more in the pay-per-view. So they try to overlook certain things. Then they try to say, well, Bud made more money than Errol Spence. Bud got 4 point something, and Errol made 2 point something. Yeah, he made 2 point something before the pay-per-view was done with. Then when I told him in the Danny Garcia fight, he made almost 10 or 12, just like he made almost in the Sean Porter fight. He didn't make that much money. Okay, silly motherfucker. Sit up there and say he didn't make that much money. Just think he made 2 point something million fighting on fucking pay-per-view. When he don't have a promoter, they get back end money, right? That's why Errol say back end boys. They get back end money, right? Some y'all need to do y'all damn research on. And not only that, he have fighters fighting on his cards. Fighters fighting on his cards, so he getting paid off of that as well. So when these people be talking, bro, they just be talking, bro. So if Bud want the 60-40, right? If he don't want it, Errol Spence not going to sit around and wait to please none of you motherfuckers, right? I got a family to feed too, right? He knows. I got a family as well. I just had a brand new boy. You know, I work my ass off. To get in this position. So why would I get hurt? That's like, man, you working in a restaurant, he knows. You the cook, and I just sweep the floors, right? And they put $300 on the table, and they say, oh, you know, I think y'all supposed to split that 50-50. You gonna be like, oh, motherfucker, all you did was sweep floors now. You know, this gonna be 200 to 100. I'm back here cooking, slaving, serving up these goddamn meals, and all you doing is sweeping floors? No, you ain't getting no goddamn 50-50. I'll be a goddamn fool to do all the work and give you 50-50. And that's exactly what you're saying about Errol Spence. He's doing all the heavy lifting. He's doing all the promoting. This fight is riding on Errol Spence's back, right? It's riding on his back, right? Because his own promoter, Terrence Bud Crawford, own promoter said, this man don't sell. This man has lost me money. I'm done with him. He's done with Terrence Bud Crawford. After October, it's over with. He don't even want to sit down and even talk about renegotiating the deal with Terrence Bud Crawford. That's how much he done with him. And to prove my point, the man told Keith Thurman, how about you go get a promoter to put the money up for you and Terrence Bud Crawford, and they lose money. That's how much faith he got in Terrence Bud Crawford bringing back an investment. So the money, the fight is riding off Errol Spence's back. This fight is riding off his back, right? We're saying who bringing in the numbers. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Bud ain't going to help bring in numbers, but everything is counting on Errol Spence. That's why he need Errol Spence. Errol Spence don't need Terrence Bud Crawford. He don't need Terrence Bud Crawford. Why? Because Errol Spence have 2 more weight classes to conquer. With big names. And one of the big names with Canelo at 160, who already solidified Errol as arguably the biggest star in boxing, because he said he will come down to 160 to only fight Errol Spence Jr. Only Errol Spence Jr. he will come to 160 pounds to fight, right? But they'll overlook all those things he knows just to say he's afraid of Terrence Bud Crawford. He don't want to fight Terrence Bud Crawford, but he want to fight Canelo Alvarez. So who's the more dangerous fighter, Bud Crawford or Canelo Alvarez? Because last time I checked, you motherfuckers say he don't stand a chance against Canelo Alvarez. He don't stand a chance. He gets knocked out. So he willing to go fight Canelo Alvarez, who he don't stand a chance against, but he won't fight Terrence Bud Crawford, right? So they just be talking, bro. They just be talking. But at the end of the day, like you said, there's always been an A side. There's always been a B side. And last time we checked, the motherfuckers that's doing all the heavy lifting, that's putting the asses in the seats, that's doing the pay-per-view, that's the bigger star, they got the bigger name, it's the A side. When we look at Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. Fits the category as the goddamn A side. End of discussion on that shit.
That's it. And you made a Nas Ether point that was beyond Ether, dog. Because you said if he is willing to fight Canelo Alvarez, how is he afraid of Terrence Bud Crawford? Woo, that point went over a lot of heads because Canelo Alvarez is 1,000 times harder than Terrence Bud Crawford. But I dropped the video, man, and even Monnie B was like, "Duh, that was a hell of a breakdown." Where I broke down how Spence, if he fights Terrence Bud Crawford and he fights Canelo Alvarez, he could fight them the same way. He just got to change up just a little bit of different things, but he could fight them the similar because the similarities in Terrence Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they like to be uncomfortable. So what you got to do when you fight them, you got to be uncomfortable. You got to make life uncomfortable for them. And then the only difference is Spence can take more risk with Terrence Bud Crawford because he can handle Terrence Bud Crawford's power because Spence is sparring with light heavies and all this, but he can't take that same level of risk with Canelo Alvarez because Canelo Alvarez got cracked. And Spence got to box on his toes more, and he just got to be a little bit more careful when it comes to the defensive side of things. But one thing about Terrence Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they fight in flashes. The reason why Floyd embarrassed Canelo Alvarez, and you saw this with Kell Brook, when Kell Brook beat the shit out of Terrence Bud Crawford for 3 rounds and then took a nosedive. Come on, man. Nobody can't tell me, Monty Brown, that Kell Brook, who barely has 70 inches, he was out jabbing the hell out of Terrence Bud Crawford. And Terrence Bud Crawford is a guy that keeps saying is such a hell of a boxer. He was getting done the fuck up by Kell Brook. Done the fuck up for 3 rounds. Kell Brook was beating him to the punch, embarrassing him. Now people can see why when Kell Brook was at his best, Kell Brook was able to take it to Errol Spence the way he did for those 6 rounds until Spence in the second half of the fight broke his ass down. But what people got to understand is when we look at Terrence Bud Crawford, Spence could take more risk. Canelo, the thing with him is Canelo is good at punching placement and he's good at body shots. That's why Spence got to be more on his toes and more on his P's and Q's. The reason why the Floyd Mayweather game plan is perfect is because Floyd avoided everything big from Canelo. And if you notice, anytime Canelo touched Floyd, it was grazing shots. Mm-hmm. And Floyd would out counter Canelo. Every time Canelo would try to throw a counter shot. That's how you got to fight. And Spence fights like that because you saw that in the Danny Garcia fight. He was out countering the counter. And Spence was kind of giving you an interlude of how he could fight Canelo. Spence could use the same game plan he used in the Danny Garcia fight against Canelo Alvarez and beat the shit out of Canelo. And I'm going to explain why, because Danny got more energy in the tank than Canelo does. Danny can go at least 12 rounds with you. This was proven. Even though he was getting broken down, he can go. Danny's never been known as a guy whose stamina turns to shit after 7 rounds. Canelo is that guy. That's why you see Canelo, for the life of him, he's scared of a Jamal Charlo. Because Jamal Charlo is a stamina machine, dog. This dude can go 12 rounds and then some. That's how well-conditioned Jamal Charlo is. And then Canelo knows that Jamal Charlo is so wild card with his uppercuts and so wild card with the way he throws his punches athletically and his explosion on top of the fact that he's a stamina-filled machine. He don't want to deal with those problems. Canelo knows it. And he don't want to deal with Demetrius Andrade because Demetrius Andrade can box your ears off and he's awkward. And Canelo wouldn't be able to get his timing down. This is why he ducks these guys, because it's evident. When you hear Oscar De La Hoya out of his own mouth say, you know, oh, Canelo Alvarez, we're not fighting Demetrius Andrade because he's boring. Boring in boxing translation, me and Bonnie Brown can explain that to you. That means the person can box your ears off. They always say a fighter that's a boxer is boring. That's what it means. He can box your ears off. So that's why he's boring.
All I heard is a tough time, motherfucker. A tough time.
Exactly. And the reason why he's ducking Jamal Charlo is because Jamal Charlo has the height advantage, 6'1" versus 5'9". Jamal Charlo has power in both of his hands. Jamal Charlo's power has translated from weight class to weight class. And he saw what Jamal Charlo did to J-Rock, and J-Rock hasn't recovered since. And he knows that if Canelo knows that if Jermall Charlo connects, it's over for him. Spence is a more brutalizer version of Floyd Mayweather. All Spence got to do is follow the Floyd Mayweather game plan, but put his tactical aggression on it, and he will give Canelo damage. Because I don't care what level of fighter you are. Boxing fundamentals, you and I know this to be true, Monnie. It never changes. When you keep beating somebody up at the body, you systematically break them down. People are sitting here saying, well, Spence ain't got no power to keep Canelo off him. But Floyd ain't as powerful as Spence, and Floyd was solar plexing the shit out of Canelo. He didn't keep Canelo off him. Canelo didn't slow down. Floyd was obviously throwing something at Canelo to keep Canelo off him. Am I lying? Floyd was barely 152 pounds. Canelo was 175. What was slowing Canelo down? It's because Floyd got snappy power. Just like Andre Ward. Stinging fucking power. Thank you, Monty Brown, for the correction. Stinging fucking power. Andre Ward was the same way with Sergey Kovalev. Why you think Sergey Kovalev wasn't coming in? It's that stinging fucking power. But Spence got that thudding power. There ain't no stinging power, it's thudding. So when Spence hit that body with the punch resistance he has, Canelo Alvarez will be fundamentally broken down. And then on top of that, the fact that Canelo's stamina is shit, all Spence got to do is take his ass to deep waters from round 7 and up. And what did Andre Ward say? In championship rounds of round 7 and up, just take their ass to deep waters. Last time I checked, Spence is a megalodon shark. The megalodon shark has no predators. It is the predator. And where does the megalodon shark reside? It's like the movie. Deepest, bluest, my heart is like a shark's fin. They reside in the deepest part of the ocean, dog. So he can take Canelo to the deepest water, drain his fucking ass, and tactical aggression him, technical punching placement him, and body snatching work, the levying onslaught, the punishment style his ass. Because Spence knows, well, shit, I'm the next guy after Mayweather. I could just use the same game plan to beat Canelo. That's why Spence ain't studying Canelo, because he know he can beat Canelo. He know he got the Mayweather game plan. He can just throw his spin on it. But with Terrence Buck Crawford, Spence is like Mean Machine dropped you. You went 12 rounds with a one-legged Jose Benavidez. He told him that to his face. You went 12 rounds with a one-legged Gimp. So what do you think I will do? That's it. I mean, it's really simple. This is how Spence will beat these guys. Outwork them, be an Energizer Bunny. When they taking rounds off, Spence punch in between their punches and basically make them punish every time they take these times off. And that's it. He will systematically break down both fighters. The only thing he's changing is with Canelo, you got to be more careful. You got to box on your toes. Terrence Buck Crawford, you could take more risks, but it's really the same game plan for both of these fighters. And he will systematically break their fucking ass down. That's why Spence ain't stunting no damn Terrence Buck Crawford, and he never was stunting no damn Canelo Alvarez, because he know he can beat those guys, man. And if fight fans are being honest with themselves, Canelo is 5'9", man. Spence is 5'9 and a half. They literally look at each other, dog. They can look at each other face to face. And if Floyd, who was 5'8", was able to beat up Canelo and was 23 pounds less, Spence walks around at 180, 185. So this whole thing about Canelo's bigger than Spence, that's bullshit, man. If Spence has to keep his weight under control so that he can be in fight weight, Spence can blow the hell up. We've seen this before. He can get all the way up to 190 if possible. So all of this nonsense about Canelo's bigger and all that, that's bullshit, man. And it's fuck shit at its truest and its most properest level. Spence is special, but I'm going to tell you this, Monty, because they don't like when we keep saying this. They, oh, you fanboy. No, we tell them the truth. Floyd was special, and they didn't think that there was going to be another Floyd to come. And then Spence comes. It's like Kobe with Jordan. They didn't think Kobe was going to come right behind Jordan like that. Yeah. They didn't know that Spence was going to come right behind Floyd like that, and that's what happened. So they hot and bothered like grits because another special fighter has shown up, and they wanted this whole parody nonsense where they can pick and choose mediocrity. But when you're rocking with the best, you don't settle for the rest, dog. Let me say it again. When you're rocking with the best, you ain't got time to settle for the rest. Spence is the best. So why are we settling for the rest? You gotta say
everything is a fact, and you on point like a sharp fucking needle. Because I said that thing. I said when you look at Canelo Alvarez, he fight in spurts, and because when you look at the first Triple G fight, he showed that. He showed how Canelo gassed at the end and how he was still just throwing just to be throwing. Canelo was throwing just to be throwing. Errol Spence not gonna be throwing just to be throwing. Errol Spence not gonna be afraid to go back to the body because that's part of his game plan. You know what I mean? Like you say. Now I said this: He's going to have to watch out because he do got power, and that's what you got to watch out is for the counter shots. But if you get Canelo past the 6 rounds and you forcing him to throw 7, 8, 9, especially 9, 10, 11, 12, he gonna be looking for a way to try to land big shots and try to bounce on his toes. And guess what he gonna turn into? He knows the boring fighter. He gonna turn into he's a board because he gonna try to box, but Errol Spence gonna be on his ass. He's not gonna let him box. He's gonna force him to throw. I don't care what nobody says. He's gonna force his ass to throw. And Errol gonna be on his ass, bro. When he get to the body, he gonna break his ass down and he's gonna win. He's going to win on the points. They hate to hear it. That's why the motherfuckers kicked me out that group because Errol is going to win on the points. I asked everybody in there, has Canelo going to beat Errol Spence? Everybody say power. I say, so what happened when power don't work? What happened if because he's so big? No, he's not so big. Do you understand Errol Spence was walking around big? Do y'all understand how big he get? Do y'all understand the power that he's losing by making 147? Y'all don't think he's stronger? Like y'all think he just some little chump, huh? And I was laughing. I say, boy, it's gonna be a lot of hurt feelings once this fight happens. You know what I mean? Because I do feel like Errol Spence and Canelo go fight. It's gonna happen at 160. It's gonna be for the fight of the era, the fighters of the era. And Errol Spence gonna beat his ass. Errol Spence is gonna win that fight. He's gonna win that fight. You know, they don't want to hear it. It's gonna piss them off, but we don't give a damn. We don't give a damn at all. Because we gonna talk about it and we gonna say what we say. We gonna stand behind it until proven wrong. Goddamn me.
That's it, dog. You told the truth, man. You spoke in the booth and you told the damn truth, dog. Monnie, man, close us out, dog. What's your closing thoughts, man?
Man, it's always an honor to cook with my brother. We will be back next Saturday, man. Thank everybody that came through rocking with us. Make sure y'all show up next Saturday. Man, he knows we'll be here every Saturday. So, you know, it's always good to cook, bro. It's always to have a different perspective on things. You know what I mean? We not going to agree on everything, but we are brothers, and that's what brothers do. You feel me? But y'all ain't gonna get no bullshit out of us. Y'all ain't gonna get us to say no stupid shit. Like I seen somebody in the chat trying to get, this man, get out of here with that shit. These are our points. These are all like what we think. We don't give a fuck about what nobody else think, bro. You know what I mean? Take it with a grain of salt, but don't take it as it's hate. You know what I mean? Don't take it as hate. Take it as somebody really feel this way. And when he knows his sports, like I say, I seen him support White. I seen him support Devin Haney. So take it how you want to take it, man, but don't take it as hate. You feel me? Look at the man's skin color. The motherfucker blacker than you. Blacker than you. And if you think this motherfucker ain't pro-black, you got to be crazy out your mind.
There you go.
So at the end of the day, man, we go always cook. But like I say, it's nothing that's gonna make me run from you or say I'm not fucking with you or none of that. Because I got the utmost respect for you, champ. It's gonna stay that way. It's gonna continue to be that way, and we gonna continue to cook and get the people what they need, bro. But y'all follow me on Monnie Brown TV if y'all not already. Follow me on Instagram at Monnie_the_writer. If y'all not, I will be streaming the fight tonight on Showtime. You feel me? It's been a while since I seen boxing. I'm happy we got something back, man. You know, much love to all y'all. Y'all stay safe out there, man. You know, I just lost my aunt, to this corona shit. So make sure y'all stay washing your hands, man, and stay safe out here because it's real. That shit is real. You feel me? I don't care what nobody say. It's real. But much love, my brother. I will be back next Saturday, champ.
Man, Monnie Brown, appreciate you all the time, dog. You know, we're going to keep cooking, man. When it's all said and done, we're going to agree at times to disagree. It is what it is, but we're going to be grown men about it. We're not going to be emotional about it. We're not going to be emotional betas about it. We're going to be alphas about it, and we're going to agree to disagree. And when we do agree, we're going to agree to agree. My catalog is proven in of itself. I done told people all along, I support Deontay Wilder. I support Devin Haney's, but I'm going to always tell hard truths on them. And anybody else. Lately, I've been telling hard truths on Adrian Broner. Anybody else, I'm going to tell a hard truth when I see that they're not doing what they're supposed to. Because when you love your brethren, you tell the truth about them, man. It's not hating. See, and that's what people don't understand. There's a thin line. Just like that movie, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. There's a thin line between truth telling and a thin line between hating. But when it's all said and done, Monnie Brown, real cat, appreciate you, man.
Can I address this dude real fast? He knows.
Yeah.
T-Tone Toledo, you say if Spence can't hurt lightweight Mikey, who he beat the shit out of, and his daddy wanted him to stop the fight, or Porter, when he dropped the shit out of Porter ass was dropped, Porter took punishment, then he gonna see the face sit up there swole like a motherfucker. I just don't know. I just couldn't catch him, man. He was just good. So what makes you think he didn't hurt them? Why? Because he didn't knock him out? Because he didn't knock him out, you think he didn't hurt him? And he could hurt Canelo, but he don't have hurt Canelo to beat him. He can outbox his ass and he go break his ass down, like we're saying. Whether you like it or not. Now that's what the fuck. Now you can continue to rap for Canelo, or you can tell us how Canelo go beat Errol Spence. But don't come here with the same shit everybody else saying. Oh, you just basing everything off power. Power. We just told you he has stud and power. It ain't just power that's gonna knock you out, but you go feel it and it's gonna break your ass. Sean Paul broken down. He was hurt. 8-4. Y'all want to say it was a close fight? That shit wasn't close. Y'all just called rough and tough Sean Porter. Go back and watch the fight and judge it unbiasedly. You understand me? Unbiasedly. Whoop Mikey ass for all 12 rounds. Whoop Danny Garcia worse than anybody ever whooped him. So let that soak in your head. Let that soak in your head. But go ahead, champ.
Yes, sir. And you told the truth, man. Everything he said was the truth. So that interjection was definitely necessitated. But Tito Toledo is a cinnamon dust horchata Canelo Saul Alvarez cinnamon dust fraud fanboy. So it is what it is. He's gonna defend who he's gonna defend. We told the truth about Canelo Alvarez, and we're gonna continue to tell the truth about Canelo Alvarez. But when it's all said and done, you can't knock everybody out. Like Aaron Jones said, Monty Brown, appreciate you, man. I appreciate everyone in the chat. Make sure you donate to this platform, man. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like, and share. Make sure you guys subscribe to Monty Brown. Make sure you guys give your Sunday's best to both platforms, HenoSupport.com and Monty Brown TV. We appreciate y'all. We're going to keep coming back at it every Saturday. We're going to keep telling you guys the real. We're going to keep telling you guys the truth. And we're going to keep coming at you guys with keeping the foot on the what? On the necks. And keeping the foot on the what? On the necks. So when it's all said and done, y'all have a great Saturday. Check out my boy Monty Brown later. He's going to be covering the fight. And we're going to run this back next week because there's a whole lot of stuff that's going to happen between now and next week where we're going to have a lot of shit to talk about, man. Monty Brown, it was real. Be easy. Peace to you, fam. Everybody in the chat, be easy. Those that took the time out to listen to the stream all the way through, appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all support. Again, make sure y'all subscribe, comment, like, and share. Donate to the platform. Give your Sunday's best, whatever you can. Super chat or Cash App, we accept it. We appreciate it. Peace.